It's clobbering time!
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Roger. Ready to move out.
Get those nerds! 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 What? Clobberanimo!
Oops. Oops. Hey.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome, everybody. I don't even know why that happened. It just did. Welcome. Hey,
Nerds.
Nerds. Geeks. Whatever. Whatever. Hello, my good friend. Sorry to get started so late there. It's you better this night, but we're on. We're here for Clobbering Times number 516 on YouTube. 1,216 overall since the beginning of time, or the beginning since 2019 anyway. I'm 2009, not 19. Damn it, 14, almost 14 years. Holy crap! And yeah, Superman month. Superman.
Superman.
Superman with my great buddy Ace Cast Iron. Welcome, bro. Good to see you.
Good evening, everybody. Glad to be on.
Glad to have you here, brother. And what a great, fantastic, no doubt, bunch of friends we have here with us this evening. Good to see you, my buddies. I guess I tell you what, we'll get down to business, get down to beeswax in a second. I'll do some show notes. How about some show notes, everybody? But first, these important messages.
What about you?
What about me?
Why don't you go?
You are expendable.
And you're not.
No, I'm not. I am not expendable. I'm not stupid. And I'm not going.
Daddy,
As good as your word.
aye, sir. The more they overthink the plumbing, the easier it is to stop up the drain.
We had to get those important messages out of the way, folks. Before we do some shout outs, I want to say hello, everyone, to some show notes here right quickly. Let's see here. What's coming up? Tomorrow night on the Clobbering Times, we will have the clubhouse. We'll be in session. Our wonderful first officer, Commander Briggs, and our great chief engineer, Mark D, will be here with me. We're doing our usual clubhouse stuff. And then let's see, Friday night, tomorrow night before that, I'll be on with the great Tom Connors. I'm honored to be a guest on that august panel on the Midnight's Edge After Dark. That's 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then let's see here, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, Friday night. My buddy Dad Man has been having me on lately to talk about the NFL. Although, he knows I've sworn it off, but he's had me on anyway, and I'm happy to go in there. We're going to talk about the Pooper Scooper Bowl, a little Super Bowl history, and maybe a little Super Bowl future. Who knows? Anyway, so there's that, and then 8:30 Central Standard Time on my buddy Nick Wise's show, The Comic Shop, the Friday Night Comic Shop Gang, reviewing issue number 6 of the Infinity Gauntlet. And then Saturday Night Star Trek, beginning season 5 of Star Trek Deep Space Nine with 4 more thrilling episodes. Well, are they thrilling? I don't know. I just felt like being Howard for a minute. My Howard, go sell. What else is going on? Okay, then we have a spectacular Monday night double feature. 2 reviews, 2 shows on Monday night, folks, celebrating Superman month. Superman. We'll get it. We'll
really nice lady too.
Oh, we'll actually talk about that in a second. First at 6 p.m. Central at a special time, the great J-Man will join me for another excursion into Earth B. Bob Haney. It will be a wacky world of Bob Haney presentation. We've been having so much fun reviewing. Once a month now, we're going to review a Bob Haney classic. For those who don't know, the wackiest writer who ever wrote comics. And since it's Superman month, this may have something to do with Superman. You'll just have to find out. Brave and the Bold number 150. Who does he team up with that one? Did I spoiler that? I don't know. But like I said, we had a fantastic time with our first one, our second one, our third one, and now this will be the 4th in our ongoing series to bring the world to Earth B, because you got to go to Earth B, and because it's just a fun place. Let's see. And then after that, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time Monday night, my good buddy. That's the wrong one. Oops, that's the wrong one. Where's the other? Where'd I put it? Oh, I got it. Sorry. Oopies. Let me see. Get rid of that one. My good buddy Carlos and I will be reviewing one of the greatest Superman stories of all time. Superman number 11 for the Man Who Has Everything, by the masterpiece by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. And looking forward to that. And of course, tonight, well, in a little bit, we'll be getting to this one for you. We're going to be talking about basically Superman by any other name. The Superman incognito years. Supreme.
When he was the only Superman that existed at the time.
Exactly. Boy, that's for sure. Before that, however, we'll say some hellos. First, we'd like to shout out our great wrenches, whether they're actually here or not, because I can't really see the chat yet. I'll just shout you guys out. The great Eric K., the Bronze Wrencher. Good to see you there, buddy. The Vindicator Wrench of the North, Chris Persia. The Bud Martin, the Wrench of Iron. Hey, buddy. Hope you're feeling better, man. Lord Thoth, God of the Wrench, and Lady Thoth, of course. Avon lives, and long live the Legion, my friend. The Wrench Without Fear, J-Man, my partner in crime on Earth B. Looking forward to Monday night, buddy. Hungry Boy, master of the Clubboni and official artist of not only of Clobberin Times, but of the book Science Fiction Tales by R.M. Briggs. Super Wrench Kal-El, and wielder of Wrench Mjolnir, Maddie's daddy, and of course that old crazy old coot Phantom Outsider. You crazy old. Wait a minute, you're younger than me. I'm sorry, but you're still old. Oh my goodness. Anyway, let's see who's there. Eric K with a $5 super chat. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. He says Clobby only just over another 14,000 shows. Oh, okay. Just another 14,000 shows and you can retire. Well, we're getting there, huh? I'm on it, man. Hey, the lovely Sherry. We always say hello to the ladies here. Hey, what's up, my dear? That beautiful face. The hail to you in the Legion of Memers. It's good to see you. Always a pleasure. Let's see here. Who else is up in here? Wagner. What's up, brother? Good to see you.
Ragnar.
Well, yeah, I love the way Raquel says that. Wagner.
Yeah.
Michael Carney. What's up, buddy? JT Kurt. Hey. Brian Hepburn. Hello, my friend. Good to see you.
I love to see that the chat is already active. The show just began. There's already really good conversation going.
Always. Yep, I love it. What a guy. This is the best chat here. This is the best chat on YouTube here. Chris Persia. Oh, I said you. Sorry. But Chris, hello again, buddy. I meant to say Pat S. What's up, buddy? Yep. We might bump into each other. There's a con, Pat S is from down here in our way, and we might be bumping into him. I don't know if you know about this yet, Ace, but April 1st, con in Covington, in Covington is coming, and we're going to be hopefully the Gulf Coast gang and I are going to be going to that one.
Yeah, I think there's a pretty good chance I'll be there.
I hope so, man. Let's see here. Classic Comments. Hey, CC. Good to see you, buddy. Stuart Mitchell. What's up? Lemon Pie. Hey. Let's see. See if I missed anybody. No. I think we got everybody so far. Of course, anyone who does pop in will be duly acknowledged. So, Superman month. Yes, sir. And we will accordingly every chance we get. And we'll have a couple of other streams planned. A week from Monday night, my good buddy Michael Fretz from Retro Blasting will be joining me to talk all things Superman pre-crisis. Basically, we're going to talk about the Superman that we were real deal Superman. Yes, the Superman we were comfortable with before he kept getting screwed around. You notice since 1986, he has been screwed around with so much to unrecognizable degrees. I would argue that nothing like that starts starts big. It starts small, and it started with all that revisionism crap that they started doing to him with a certain JB. You know what I mean?
Yeah, our good friend Mr. B.
Biatchburn. So anyway, those of you who may not know, our dear friend Mark C, who we've named the show after, who we lost it's almost 2 years now. I can't believe it's almost been 2 years since he's gone. Really, it's a mess. And he and I, of course, when we bumped into each other about, 12, 15 years ago at a local comic shop, he had told me that I wouldn't know this, of course, because he was younger, but he bought comics from me as a young lad in the 80s at my comic shop. But anyway, we became friends and we would talk a lot. And he, being younger than me, he was a big fan of the John Byrne 86 reboot. And of course, you all know I am not. But a lot of younger people are. Just the way it goes. So, of course, you're younger than me and you don't like it, but Ace, but there are people who do, as we unfortunately know, right?
Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate for them.
Yes, it is. But anyway, but the reason I bring that up is because for years would go by and he would say, we would talk about it, and he knew about my show, and he would say, well, you say you come on, we talk about it one time, because he always liked to argue with it. He always liked to start arguments with me about it. And I was always, at that point, look, you're talking about it in the 2000s. I'm like, I'm over the argument. I'm never going to win anybody over. I don't care. There's nothing we can do about it. It's done. What do we want me to do? I mean, I can only call it garbage, drivelly filth so much when people just don't care. They either like it or they don't. And I've come to, this is anecdotal, mind you, Ace, but I've come to realize it seems like the majority liked it. So what am I going to do? Except people our age or for the most part, even, relatively, even though you and I aren't quite the same age, you know what I mean?
Well,
a lot of people just like it.
I look at it like this. If you look at the entire lexicon of that character, there's been a consistency that existed from the character's creation all the way through 84, 85. And if you look at the last 30, 40 years, the character Superman himself in every media has gone through countless changes. And I think it's simply indicative of what Byrne did. And
he started it.
Yeah. And listen, and if you like his and that's what I put in the chat. If you like his Superman, then God bless you. I mean, I always say, when I read a comic and I don't like it, I don't feel good that I don't like it. When I go to a Star Wars movie and it's not a Star Wars movie, I'm not happy that I don't enjoy it. So if you enjoy that kind of thing, that's cool. But I mean, if you look at DC from top to bottom, the DC universe was changed in a way it's never recovered because of what they did to Superman mythos, particularly what they did Superboy and the Legion of Superheroes.
Absolutely. But the thing is, we would talk about it, and we finally, when I finally moved to YouTube, he was on one of my first shows where we talked about the whole thing. But for those of us who did not like it in the 80s and in the 90s who were disenchanted with what Superman would have been done to him. Hey, Sean, Decepticon, good to see you, buddy. For those of us who were not thrilled with what had happened to Superman in 86 and carrying into the 90s, something wonderful happened for us because last year, about a little over a year ago, an august young man, YouTuber named Max Van Priestley and myself, Max Van Priestley, we reviewed on my show. We did a review of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, the Alan Moore, the goodbye to the golden, silver, bronze age Superman, right before
the farewell.
The end, the brilliant but sad and poignant ending of the Superman before John Byrne did his thing, as we will. So we reviewed it, and Alan Moore had said goodbye to Superman in his own way. I remember there was a story where and back then, this is before Alan Moore went nuts. He actually cared about superheroes, believe it or not. Now he hates them, but he loved them back then because even though he wrote some dark stuff, he didn't write, this one had dark stuff in it, but it was also very respectful. And it was the end. So he told then legendary editor Julius Schwartz, if you don't let me write the last Superman story before the reboot, I will basically I will off you. You got to watch what you say on YouTube, believe it or not. And Julius Schwartz laughing said, well, not wanting to be accomplice to my own murder, I said, okay. And so he did it, and he wrote a very final ending. And, at least that Superman got an ending. It was, I don't care about all this imaginary story horse crap. He got an official out, which, most stories, Alan Moore believed that all stories need an ending. And they don't just go where. But the thing about comic book characters is they were different because they were handed down from generation to generation, from creators to people that didn't create them, And this was a chance for him to sort of put a cap on it of the way it would end if it were to end at all. And there's
truly beautiful
mark for that. It was beautiful and poignant. Well, about 10 years later, I don't exactly. I think Alan Moore had realized. Of course, you all know he did Watchmen and Swamp Thing and Marvel Man / Miracle Man and V for Vendetta and such. He realized that he had, whether he had intended to or not, he set trends along with Frank Miller and some others that sent comic books down a very dark path, even superheroes, which were generally meant for younger readers and children and supposed to be optimistic and not supposed to be deconstructed and burned all to hell and burned down by Burn. But he decided he did one mea culpa through Image Comics called 1963, which he wasn't able to finish, but that was a great one. That was more his retro. Almost like he invented the retro comic, I think, pretty much. And it was an homage to Marvel, the Silver Age Marvel. Well, then a few years later, again with Image, which was a creator-owned company. Where are you? There was a character floating around out there, a worthless Superman cipher who was just nothing imaginative or anything about him, called Supreme, quote unquote, created by a guy who can't use the word create really, but Rob Liefeld. Rob Liefeld. So you didn't see his feet much. Just kidding.
Huge upper body.
Yeah, and he was just he was Supreme. He was his little take on Superman.
He was kind of a bully. He was just like a violent Superman.
Right. Oh, I should point out, it wasn't until 2 days ago that I decided to make this show about Supreme. I was going to make this about Supreme and Samaritan. We'll talk about Samaritan later, but I'm making it focusing on Supreme because then I got the idea, hey, maybe Ace will want to come on and talk about Supreme with me because of how important that comic book was to both of us in the 90s. So I shifted it a little bit. So, but don't worry, I love Samaritan. But the best of the Superman, in fact, he's not just a Superman cipher. He was that when he was a Superman archetype knockoff, Rip, whatever you want to call it, when with what's his face when Liefeld did him.
Right.
Alan Moore got together with with not so much with Liefeld. I think Eric Larson was the editor or whatever, and Rick Veitch and some other guys. And he decided that he wanted to tell stories that, let's say, for example, if Alan Moore had been given the chance to write Superman in the 80s, was a regular series, or 70s and 80s, this is the way he wanted to do it. This is what Moore, I think, would have done with Superman if he'd had the chance. So sometimes you got to travel incognito, right? This is Superman in disguise because Moore decided to bring him down. What is saying that the current Superman is still the Byrne version? Is the birthing Matrix still canon, or was that quietly retconned to more popular rocketed to Earth as a baby thing? I don't know.
No, it's not. It's gone through. It's on its like 5th incarnation right now, and he actually was born on Krypton in the current continuity, and sent here by Jor-El and Lara. However, in current continuity, I think Jor-El's got a beard. We used to call it Beard Ale when it first came out during the Jeff Johns Jeff Johns Superman run. That
Beard Ale
grew a beard. Yeah,
I hated that. It was so asinine. So Supreme went from like 40 something issues of him just being some dopey, angry bully, like you said, jerk Superman rip type thing. All of a sudden, overnight, he basically got turned into Superman. He became Superman for all practical hints and purposes. He was, because at the time, this was the mid 90s. Superman had already been beaten to death and brought back to life. His
he had a mullet. He had his mullet. He was married.
He was married. He had ice capades, blue and electric blue powers, and he was just not my Superman. He really was kind of, even before they killed him and then brought him back, he was not really, the guy. I mean, he looked like him at some point, but he wasn't my Superman, folks. And they weren't doing the kind of stories that really mattered to me as for the character. But a lot of people liked it. I just didn't really care for it. I remember I had to buy it every month because I had a person I was married to that was reading it. Yeah. You remember those days? It's true. She was buying it. So Supreme, Alan Moore, with the help of a few other artists like Rick Veitch and some others, turned this comic into something I never thought I would see. A Superman comic that I wanted to read. And I haven't read it in a while now. It's been a little bit, but I have a great friend of here tonight, my good buddy Ace Cast Iron here, who has reread them recently. And I'm going to get him to talk a little bit about it. What are your basic thoughts on Supreme? What do you think about it? And what's it like going back and rereading it? I just read a couple of the back of the early ones. I'm about to do a deep dive and do them all again. And it's just so much fun going back to it. What do you take away from it now that you've gone back and reread it again after all this time?
I think the first initial thing is that when you see that issue 41 where they introduce this new Supreme, as soon as you look at the cover, you see that Jerry Ordway is responsible for it, and it evokes that classic DC era that at that point was gone. And so when you go into the issue itself, the design of the issues are a classic look mixed with the modern approach with regard to that period where Supreme still looked like a pretty big guy. He's more of the modern Superman rather than the modestly sized Wayne Boring and Kurt Swan. But it immediately introduces what I would say is Alan Moore's, and we're talking about Supreme, but when you read the first issue, you're really getting into the explanation of what Alan Moore would have done to refresh the DC universe. And essentially, the initial run really goes through how he explains how you could have kept pre-crisis DC universe together without rebooting and basically destroying the mythos of 60, 70 years. And it was a delight for me being kind of a classic Superman guy where my favorite character in all the comics is Superboy, and I mean, you know, Clark Kent when he was a kid, and having lost that in Crisis was almost an end point for me in comics in general. And so when Supreme comes back, you know, he had his career as a teenager. He was Kid Supreme. You know, he doesn't come from a planet like Krypton. However, what they end up doing in the comic is they basically say that all timelines and all mythos count. And so that's to say they've developed this entire history in Supreme over the last 40 years that basically apes DC Comics. Now, it's not represented in Earth 2 or Earth 3 or Earth 5. It basically says that Supreme began his career as a kid, and he was a kid when he's like in the 30s, 20s, 30s. He goes through World War II with his own team, much like the Justice Society, and at some point, you know, time kind of gets and reality kind of gets warped, and different his partners and different folks that he's working with kind of go in their separate ways or imprisoned. And what happens is every so often continuity just updates. And when you continue in the series, you'll find out that when it's almost the fifth wall comes to you and says, this is what happens when John Byrne takes over, or this is what happens when the Rob Liefeld era of comics. And I don't mean that necessarily in a bad way, but what we saw was and there was this thing called the place called the Supremacy. And in the Supremacy, every single version of Supreme is represented. The person who rules the Supremacy is basically the mythological 1960s Supreme, which is the 1960s Superman, who is all powerful, who can move planets. And look, you've got goofball Supremes, you have you got Mouse Supreme, you have 70s Supreme. You have almost every representation of that can be compared to the Superman comics before Crisis. And so there's a lot that goes along with that. And certainly there are some throwbacks with regard to art style. There's some throwbacks with regard to the time periods and and how those different things are reflected, much like 63 did and some of those other comics. But for me, I felt like this. I feel like if you grew up with 60s comics, if you grew up with Legion of Superheroes and the Kurt Swan Superman and then you kind of transitioned into the 80s and you got to the Swanderson stuff and Sand Superman and all those things you were a big fan of, and it disappeared. I think you come into these comics and you get that same affection and enjoyment of the things that we've lost literally for the last 20, 30 years. But also it's got a little bit of an adult twist to it. The concepts are more adult. And more brings that intelligence to it that I think he did in Tom Strong, that he did in his America's Best comics, where you have fun with the comics, you enjoy the characters, you're really excited to see what comes next. It's a little goofy, but it's got an element of, this is not silliness. It's not ridiculous in how he portrayed it. So it's one of the greatest runs that I've enjoyed. I still don't know that we've ever seen Superman written as good as he is in that run. I don't know that he'll ever be written, and his name wasn't even Superman.
Well, he was Superman, but he wasn't in name only. He was Supreme.
Yeah, in name only. But it really was an indictment of what DC did to their own properties. It was an indictment of really how awesome. Like, look at that. You look at that panel right there in the Supremacy where you see the different versions of Supreme flying. I mean, why would you destroy that? Why would you get rid of that? And I think that's
Yeah.
how I think as a fan, that's how I apply, what's happened in DC. And of course, Marvel's done a little bit of that too. But DC consistently, I mean, literally in the last 10 years, they have gone through 3 or 4 reboots. And I think they've had enough Crisis of Infinite Earths that there's infinite crises. so it was done well. It's ahead of its time. And you know what? I don't think it's really well known. It's not something that
No.
a lot of folks really know about, and it's a treasure. It really is. And I'm a guy that loves Watchmen. V for Vendetta is a very, very important work of art for me. But in some ways, this touches me personally because of my own connections with Superman. And also, if you have a chance, if you haven't picked up this book or this run, and you look through it, you'll notice that there is all kinds of collaboration from many of the folks that we've loved over the years. I mean, Giffen was part of it. Ordway was part of it. There's so much there that the average person that's read comics for the last 30 years would not be able to go through this run and see some of the things in the panel that I know a lot of our folks here in the chat will, because obviously me being on the show, I know these guys and gals are dedicated fans, and they'll pick up stuff it will make you happy. But you know what? It makes you want to go back and find those references. It makes you want to go back and find, like the Mickey Mouse, the Mouse Supreme.
Squeaka. Yeah.
Yeah, Squeaka. What does that make you think of? It makes you think of Mighty Mouse. It makes you think of Captain Carrot. And so that refers you to something else that kind of makes you remember those old times. But look, it was fun to have Lex Luthor be a mad scientist instead of a businessman, and Darius Dax. It was good to see the relationships that Supreme had. And look, Suprema, and I'll point to this as something that shows Moore's genius in that. One of the things they mocked about kind of the old Superman was that he's the big blue Boy Scout, right? Well, he does a twist on Supremo where she's this goody two shoes, almost to the degree of ridiculousness.
Right, I remember him.
But the way he plays it out, it's interesting, and you're seeing things through different eyes. It like I said, it on so many levels. It's intelligent. The art is great. It fits that time where I think we were transitioning from our heroes are the Punisher. They kill folks. They're rough. They're a-holes. And I think this started to lighten that load a little bit. I think this truly opened doors for folks who were later able to fall in love with Astro City and Samaritan, and I think it was a circular event that goes back and forces DC to reconsider the directions of its Superman comics.
Absolutely. Rabbit Salami. I don't think I've seen you. I hope I'm saying that right. Rabbit Salami. I hope I'm saying that right. It's good to see you. I think I don't think I've seen you here before, but welcome. And I think it was first in Youngblood, if I'm not mistaken. He could be. Dave, what's up, buddy? So absolutely. Again, this is when you I just reread this one again, and this was the first one. This was Supreme number 41. If anyone's keeping track, that's where Alan Moore took over. And if the dialogue is so clever. This is really the supremacy. He did a book. He did one of the greatest comics I've ever read called In Pictopia back in the 80s, which was a one shot for a benefit book called Anything Goes for Fantagraphics with Don Simpson on the art, I believe. And it was very similar an idea to this. So he's sort of using an old idea that he had about multiverses. His use of the supremacy is so clever. It's been ripped off. This is around 96 or something, right? In the past 30 years, they have ruined multiverses in comics and in other things. They've ripped this off so many damn times, but he did it so well. Look at just this shot here. Like, there they all there. Fat Supreme, Michael Supreme, Grim 80 Supreme. What? Every what if and kid sidekick, every Supreme delusion. They're all there, and the dialogue in this issue is so brilliant when he's talking about how they got started in the supremacy, how they would just end up in limbo when something got changed. It's just weird. I mean, the metaphysics of it will almost give you a headache. Like
Sirius, the Stallion Supreme.
Yes. And anytime somebody got changed, they just ended up in limbo. And this started out as just a big white space, they said. When they're talking about it, it's just so clever. The Man of Majesty. He always finds these different plays on what they used to call Superman, like the Man of Majesty, the Man of Majesty instead of the Man of Tomorrow, the Platinum Paragon, all these. Alan Moore's writing on this thing. Alan Moore is a wordsmith. He's a genius poet, and his writing, he's taking these silly concepts that are aimed at hyperactive imaginations of children, and writing and putting an intelligence and a spin on it that just isn't usually done with these sort of things. And I've read a lot of comics, folks. I've read a lot of Silver Age comics, Golden Age also, Bronze. I've read comics, and I love the death that we're deeply simplistic. When you read an Alan Moore comic, you don't get that. You can get a very simple story sometimes that has this written on a complex level in terms of its writing and its ideas. And he's great. He's an innovator. He's not much of an idea guy. He's an innovator, which means he takes certain things, certain concepts here and there, and he does things with them you would never expect anyone to believe. You wouldn't believe someone would do that with basically just a superhero comic book. Moore was just extraordinary. And like we talk about this is Superman to us at this point, because again, as Ace and I have said, at this point I'm not buying any Superman comics except for my then wife who read them. I didn't want them. I didn't care about them. I was buying her copies, and I would want to make fun of her. I remember I would get my stack of comics, and I would have to get hers, right? And I would bring her to the Superman titles. Actually, this came out when I didn't have to do that as much, but still. And I would look at those things and I go, ugh, how do you read this crap? And I didn't even touch them. I would read my stuff and not read hers, But this was Superman to me at that point. And at this point, I never thought I was getting Superman back again. The one I loved, it was over. Okay. When Alan Moore Supreme came along, and again, I forget the exact year, everybody, 95, 96, somewhere up in there. So excuse me. When that came along, I was sure I was never getting the one I loved back. Never, ever, ever, ever. I just knew it. I was like, yeah, he's gone. I mean, not the one I don't really care about him. I mean, I love the character, but they're never going to do anything for me again. And then this came along, and we had a few years of not only, again, here's the thing, it could have been just like, okay. And if it resembled Superman, I probably would have put up with it. But I'm getting a chance to see something like Superman. It's being done by the best writer in comics, and he's writing it in such an extraordinary, out there way. It's not, there's nothing standard about anything he does. He goes over old ground and he puts things into it you wouldn't believe. This is, some of the most masterfully written comics I've ever read in my life, and part of it is because he's not, you look with Watchmen, everyone's taking it deadly seriously, and you're supposed to. With Swamp Thing, it's horror, there's no room for being silly. V for Vendetta, it's very adult. Killing Joke or Miracle Man / Marvel Man, whatever it is, those are all to be taken seriously, and they're brilliant. He's taking the goofiest of concepts, because a lot of these comics he's basically taking the Mort Weisinski era of Superman, mixed in with a little Julius Schwartz era, and he's keeping the fun in them and the goofiness in them while injecting extremely clever, intelligent writing into it. It's just a hybrid that you would never expect to see, but he does it.
But it feels like when he does that, he justifies folks like us who miss the old comics, who miss the things that went on between the 50s and the 70s. He basically says, and look, I think that DC directly responded to books like Supreme, because if you notice, right at the beginning of the 2000s, when they started reintroducing the classic Krypton with Ed McGuinness, and they reintroduced Crypto, and of course, because they had destroyed the continuity so bad, they couldn't come up with a decent way to doing that. So it was kind of all over the place, and really kind of still is. But none of that happens without Supreme. I think Supreme had a major influence on the medium and the creators themselves. I mean, if you look at the folks that were involved in this comic and the run itself, when you go to conventions, there's several people that, I mean, I had a 10-minute conversation about Supreme with Jeff Johns in the early 2000s, and Supreme was one of the great influencers of Jeff Johns bringing back Power Girl as being from Earth 2 rather than that Atlantea bullshit.
Wow, there you go. So, and yeah, he did a lot of stuff with Superman I didn't like, but you could tell he still, you knew he had respect for the characters. So, you there, dude?
Yeah.
Okay, good tell. The mic thing was okay. No, I'm good. I was looking at something wrong. So, yep, and that's Jeff Johns showed a lot of respect for usually the characters and stuff. Though he did love Superman, he does love superheroes. I'll give him that. And I did not know that he'd read Supreme. But figures though, right? I mean, because it got all over the place. All the people who liked the old school stuff did, and so Supreme did some crazy stuff, man. They really went retro, and a lot of there was always these the stuff where he could really play around with it. He would do an issue, for example, where the framework would be what was normally going on, but he would always have a lot. He used a very common superhero comics trope where he could delve back into the Silver Age with stuff like this, like these flashback books, which again is and look at that looks just like an old comic from the 60s. But these stories would have art that reflected the old Kurt Swan's art.
Yeah, the Rick Veitch would do a lot of
good job.
He do a lot of the flash. He's great, man. I love it.
He's great. He did a lot of great stuff, and so you get this stuff, and yet even the stuff that was simplistic gold and Silver Age flashback stuff was pretty just so intelligently written. I mean, it was so good, man. And he even had, remember this one? Oh my goodness. He went to this imaginary realm called New Jack City.
Yeah.
Wonderful tribute to Jack Kirby. Yeah, I almost wonder if I could find pictures from it to show.
I think that was close to the end too. I think that was pretty close to the end of the run. Because at some point Liefeld had moved to Awesome Comics and had Youngblood and Supreme under that imprint, and at some point I think he lost the license completely to both.
Yeah. Yes, he did. What issue was that? Got to find the issue. What issue was that in there? That was
I think it was
6
on that 6 on that run. The Awesome run.
Yeah. Weird. Anyway, let's see. Let me where are you? Sorry, buddy. Let me move that for a second.
I just scrolled through the League of Infinity.
Yep, basically the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah, he did a lot of stuff like that. Here we go. I gotta find out what issue that. I gotta try to find that issue. Look at that mess up, pure Kirby.
That's one thing about Alan Moore. You know he's always going to give Kirby his due.
Yep. Oh, he did. He really did. Let's see here. Oh yeah, here's an open spread from it, man. I love this. Should have found a way to load this picture. Where are you? Oh, there we go. Chris Sprouse did some nice Kirby here.
I love that. I think that's my favorite Chris Sprouse art ever. I think he I don't know that he's done anything. I mean, he had some good stuff in that Modern Legion,
and Tom Strong, yeah.
Yeah, and Tom Strong. But I mean, look at that. That's amazing.
Unreal. And this issue was so cool too. So if I could get a bigger, I would like to get a bigger one of that.
That deserves to be on a wall somewhere.
Yep, I need a poster of that.
Yeah.
Speaking of posters, yeah, they did there was a poster of
The Supremacy.
Of this, which I have.
Yeah. Alex Ross went crazy over Supreme at one point and started doing some Supreme art. He redesigned the character in a costume that's very similar to the Kingdom Come Superman. But it never appeared in a comic. And for some reason, he made Supreme look like John Tesh.
He sold what? He sold them as far as I know. J-Man, he sold what? Sprouse? Or what's he talking about? What you talking about, Willis? J-Man, what are you referring to, buddy?
Maybe he's talking about Liefeld.
Rob Liefeld? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, I hate to be beholden to Rob Liefeld, but he did create the crap Supreme that Moore turned into something great. So, you know, yep. I'll give him that. But yeah, New Jack City. Look at that. This was amazing. I love this book. Oh, Liefeld sold off the rights for Youngblood. Okay, I got you. Yep. And around this time, Moore did something else, because you and I talked a little bit about this before in the green room. There was a book called Judgment Day.
Yeah.
Which was incredible. It had up and down. The art was up and down. Unfortunately, Liefeld did some of it and some other, but Gil Kane actually did some. But the story for Judgment Day, which it did involve Supreme, of course, right? It involved all of them.
Yes.
But
I think it was the most interaction after Moore's engagement with Supreme with Youngblood. Youngblood was pretty involved in it, and so was Supreme.
Yes. But it was as far as crossovers go, usually don't like them that much. You know, for obvious reasons. But this was a really good one. But it was because
that's the first time and the only time I read those Youngblood characters.
Yeah, I didn't have no interest in them other than that. I think I got a trade on that one. Well, they use that title a lot, so you have to be very specific when you pull up the comic Judgment Day. But I can't remember how many issues there were. Can you?
There were 3 issues, and I'm not even sure that I'm not. Did they finish it? I know it was a trade paperback.
Yeah,
I think you know what? I think it finished, but I think there's other things that it led into that were never resolved. In other words, I think that's what ended up happening with that.
Right. But it was a good story. I think Gil Kane did some art for it, if I'm not mistaken, right toward the end of his life.
Yeah, Gil Kane, Keith Giffen, the guy Stephen Platt, who I think he did. The guy used to work on Hulk many years ago, and he came over to Image and did some work there.
Dale Keown or whatever.
Yeah, no, he's another guy. There's another one that did Stephen Platt. Yeah,
Platt. Yeah. All right, buddy. Take care, J-Man. Good to see you there, bud. Appreciate you. Have a great night, man.
Enjoy Earth B, where Crisis never touched it.
Yep. Can't wait to see you on Earth B, buddy. Earth B. We have some fun on Earth B, man. We've been really enjoying that. But there's a Judgment Day. Looks like a Gibbons cover or something. I need to go back and reread this one too. But then, there's the Supremacy. I have this. And I never framed it.
I don't know if I still have it or the Great and Evil One destroyed it.
You might still have it somewhere. Like I said, it's tall. I never framed it. I just kept it on that board, like that cardboard.
Yeah, it was kind of it kind of like had a hard back to it.
Like it came on a. I don't know where it is now, man. I think I used to have it sitting up at my old place, and I haven't seen it since then. Who knows where that sucker is now? But I know I got it somewhere. It's great. I mean, it's beautiful. And there's Supreme.
And it's not. Yeah, he doesn't have that the really bad John Tesh look that he had. Oh,
Alex Ross did that.
Yeah, I know, and I love him, but I mean, my God, I mean that the symbol on his chest too is it's Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's kind of maybe that's what he was going for with that.
Yeah,
but I mean, this was Ordway's. I mean, this cover here, man, was one of the great ones. But yeah, I mean, what is some of this? Again, I haven't reread it a lot. I need to refresh my memory with a lot of. You've read, you've gone back. You said you just went back and reread them. How many? If you had to guess, how many issues are we talking about here?
I mean, I don't know that there's over 20. I mean, it's a pretty. It's got a like left and right limit when it comes to those specific issues. Again, the 40 issues before Alan Moore comes on are Punisher with muscles and
yeah with Superman powers,
it's all kinds of silliness with that. But you have the several issue run that occurred initially when Moore came on, and then when they moved to Awesome, there's a couple issues there, and outside of Judgment Day, it ends. There's really no. And look, the collected editions that you can purchase now, they're not the most perfect copies. It looks like even that could have been a little better, but to have them in a collected there's 2 volumes to have them in collected editions though are pretty awesome, because I think it'd be difficult to find some of those issues in an average store. I'm sure you can get them online, but it was easier, I think, just to get the collected editions. But it's a limited run. I mean, it didn't feel like it went on for too long, but during that time, I really felt like we were rereading some of the best Superman comics that we'd ever read. And listen, there's so many characters. When you hear a lot of the times when you're talking about Crisis and what they did in Crisis and how they had to modernize characters and make characters relevant and all those things. I mean, Alan Moore did that with all the classic mythos. I mean, if you're to say that Bizarro was a ridiculous character, well, you know what? I think one of the most menacing characters in Supreme was his Bizarro, who I mean, but he did it in a threatening way, but it was also in a silly way. It had that duality of this is a great comic, but it's also intelligently done. And listen, to this day, I believe that DC could have done something like this. That's one thing. Every time I read Supreme, it doesn't matter. And like I said, I recently read through the whole run, and when I read it, I still think how much I wish DC would have done something like this, so that you could still have access to all those comics that you used to have. Now, somebody told me a couple months ago that in modern DC that they did this infinite. I know it's not Infinite Crisis, but they introduced this concept where everything counts, and Superman and Batman remember everything. So even though in the current continuity, this Superman that appears monthly was never in the Legion of Superheroes, but he remembers that he was. He was never in the JSA, but he remembers that he was. So I don't even think they have it clear, because they've just introduced a new Infinite Earths, but then in Jeff Johns in his Doomsday Clock introduced that there's multiple worlds out there, to include one called Earth 1984, where it's basically Crisis never happened.
Nice. I love that one.
Yeah, I like for them to make a book just on that Earth.
Oh, I take that one, Miss T. Classic Comics says he did some things with items from the Superman mythos that were largely abandoned by DC by this point, such as the Hell of Mirrors, Phantom Zone. Yeah, different forms of Supremium. Yes, he did so much of things. This is what told me. This is what, given a free hand, he would have done with Superman had he been allowed to. in 1985. There have been some people talked about how Alan Moore, what was he was going to be. He was supposed to be the one to do it, and then Byrne came along, and he was more popular, I guess. And at that time, he was a bigger superstar when he got, So as far as comics, Alan Moore was just getting into the scene, but everyone liked this. Everyone liked the Swamp Thing, but they did, and he'd written some different stuff here and there, but wasn't quite the same as Byrne, who was a superstar as far as comics are concerned. So I guess that's why they picked him. But I don't know.
Well, it just shows you how short-sighted they were at the time when they decided to do the reboot, because Byrne himself has said over the years that he regretted wiping Superboy from the Superman mythos. And my comment on that is, that's what happens when you make a rash decision, when you basically divest yourself of 30, 40 years of history.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Zachariah, good to see you, buddy. That's exactly right. And I'm glad he at least regretted it. It made me happy when I heard you tell you and others, but you were the first one that told me that. And it's good. I mean, it doesn't change much, obviously, but,
Well, I mean, look, you and I, a couple times a year, will send each other text messages of that issue of Legion of Superheroes where Superboy dies. And it's one of the most emotional comics that I own, that I've ever read, and to this day it touches me as much as it sickens me.
It sickens me too, but it's in a good.
That doesn't happen without Byrne making the decision to keep Superman out of the Legion, and in my mind, the Legion loses itself because of it, because there is no Legion without Superboy.
Agreed. It's sickening. And every time I see, that's why I hate everything after 89. Pretty much, I'll just stick to my own little Legion, and they can have, I'll stay in my own little pocket universe with my Legion, and won't, almost very, very, very rarely strayed from it. They've got this new DC animated Legion movie that just came out, and it looks terrible. Art looks terrible. Everything looks bad about it. And a buddy of mine, one of our good friend Lord Thoth, saw it because we were talking about it the other night. He saw it. I don't know how he saw it exactly, because I don't know where it is, but as a Legion fan who loves it as much as you and I do, he told me, he said, don't. He says, stay away from it. You will be pissed off. It was absolute garbage, and the art looks like garbage. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Look, I'll sit through any old crap if it's on HBO Max or something for free. But I'm not wouldn't pay a dime to watch it. And it looks like shite. The art looks horrible. Superman looks like he's got the right costume, but he looks like I know in that he is Superman, but he looks like he looks like a little skinny little. It's like he should be like 15 years old or something. And that was like that stupid Superman Man of Tomorrow movie they did, he looked like that. And the art, and they look terrible, and there's all kind of woke crap in it. It looks like, so they can die.
I kind of enjoyed that Super Sons thing. I don't think that was too bad. I mean, they kind of ruined that in the comics with Bendis.
I've heard. Yeah, you told me that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. I mean, listen, there was and I go back to Jeff Johns' enjoyment of pre-Crisis. I mean, Jeff Johns was responsible for Infinite Crisis, which brought back Superboy and the Legion, which brought back a lot of the kind of the old mythos when he brought back. I mean, classic Crypto came back. A lot of those old stories had relevance again. But I think you look at Rebirth, because again, New 52 wasn't working, and so you have Rebirth where a more patriotic, older Superman who has a kid, and there's some issues there. So some real Superman fun that really remind me a lot of this era of Supreme, but that doesn't last long because they move on from Rebirth and bring on Bendis, who ages up Superboy and has him abused for 7 years in an alternate universe. So even when they try to do something that's decent, they ruin it.
Yep, exactly right. They can't do anything. They can't do.
Do you remember that issue of Supreme where one of the Supreme bots, he has his own consciousness, and that there's been all kinds of things that have occurred in Supreme's life, so he was never able to marry. Was it Judy Jordan? And so he's never able to marry her. But his his Suprematons.
Oh
He
yeah,
gives them
yeah.
He gives them consciousness, and he basically marries them, and they go basically start their own family. I thought that was so unique. Like, we never
Yeah.
saw that kind of stuff from the Superman robots that were in the Fortress of Solitude. It was, but Alan Moore has a way of giving these sidebar concepts, the centerpiece in these stories, and makes it relevant, makes you care about them.
He finds ways to cross pollinate things to make them where they're not so obvious. For example, the Rick Veitch art here is very He's Rick Veitch is doing a nice Kirby here, and they meet this character in this crazy realm, and you can tell he's a cross between Doctor Doom and an Nihilist, but it works.
Yeah. And look at that Kirby crackle.
Look at all the Kirbiness all over this thing. Yeah.
And that's like the Newsboy Legion, those kids.
Yep, and they had the Custodian instead of the Guardian. It's just look at Sergeant Strong's damn busting dog faces. Alan Moore's fantastic. Donnie Pearson, good to see you, my friend. Welcome, and hail to Max World Entertainment. There, I love it. The Sergeant Strong's damn busted dog faces.
Yeah,
look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Along with the Ratsies are about attacking. It's just it's so Alan Moore, man. He just finds such clever ways to do things. Look at that Yahtzee thing fighting there. That's amazing.
It's like
he
went nuts. Cool. He went nuts in a good way on Supreme.
He did. He went crazy. I mean, I want to live in New Jack City. Look at that, man. It's so freaking cool. This was brilliant. I remember this. And this was, I guess that's why I thought there was more of it. Like you said, there's not much of it. Yes, I like Radar as well there, CC, because it seemed I remember we used to say, "Oh my God, an issue of Supreme came out! Yay!"
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that there's any books that have come out in the last 10, 15 years that I felt that excited to get and read. And you know what? I always kind of, it was, we didn't have back then, we didn't have the kind of insight on what was coming next. We didn't have a whole lot of way to talk about it unless you and I were talking about it at the comic shop, or we were hanging watching stuff. But, you really didn't know what was coming next, because this wasn't, some world changing run when it comes to sales. We were pretty lucky to find it at that point. But you kind of wondered what was going to be next. What was his next take going to be on Superman that we haven't seen? And at that point was probably about 20 years.
Yep. I think so. Yeah. I mean, look at that. That's Supreme talking to Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
That's great. Oh man. I don't know, man. I'll tell you what. It's just.
I love Radar too. I love Radar.
Too. Yeah.
They came up with a beautiful Radar and Supreme statue that was a huge rip off of Superboy and Crypto. I think that thing goes for $200 now. That thing's pretty expensive when you try to get that online.
Really? I think
you remember and again, this is an Alan Moore concept. Radar can't control himself, so what does he do? He goes and he breeds with an entire city full of dogs one night, and there's all kinds of pup Supremes flying around. You remember that?
Yeah. Oh, he went crazy with it, man. It's almost indescribable how brilliant this comic is. When you look at it, it's got this, even when they would do stuff like this retro stuff here, it looks like, remember the one I was just showing was pure Kirby. This is pure Kurt Swan mixed in with modern art of the time, as you can see. Who's that? Let's see who the modern guy is.
That looks like Jan Churchill.
And Rick Veitch, and so all together stuff. It just wow, dude. It's so amazing. I think. Okay, so it looks like. If I'm counting them up now, there are. Let's see here. We've got. It started with Supreme number 41.
41. Yeah.
And then 42. I looked at 44 at 40, like the one before 41, just to see how bad it was. I'm like, oh, this is putrid. So after, it's putrid, pusillanimous. Then I think the one I'm not sure, but I think
it is poo poo mixed with
pee. Then it was Supreme the Return. I guess that was next by Awesome.
Yeah. Well, it collects it collected. So you had the Return it's 53 through 56.
Right.
And then I know it jumps
this is
when he moves to Awesome. Yeah, when he goes to Awesome. Every dog has his day.
Yeah, this art kind of blows right here, but sometimes some of the modern artists were Matt Smith. I don't know him, but you always were guaranteed to get some nice throwback bits, I guess. I'll look. The League of Infinity. Again, they're not exactly like the Legion, but they make you think about the Legion. Which is
that doesn't
cool.
look like Wildfire at all, right?
No, nothing like him. But it calls back the Legions. That's what's so great about him. He doesn't like at the time after 1963. I forget the name of the company. They did a company called Big Bang Comics. Actually, they did Big Bang. I bought those, but they were so nothing against them. They were kind of okay, but they were really great. Actually, the 63 characters popped in with a couple of them, but they weren't like Alan Moore level. They were kind of very simplistic. See, even when he's doing something that looks simplistic, it's not. It's never simplistic with Moore. Even when he does the throwback and the retro stuff. So you had the throwback. Yeah, so it was after Supreme the Return. Was there another one?
I thought that's.
They did one. I know they had one in 2012, didn't they? That was just something that was on. Let's see here. Look how many. All right, if you look here, look how many Supreme titles there were.
Yeah.
But you had a bunch of poo-poo like Gladiator and Supreme. That's crap. Lady Supreme. Ugly Left Field Supreme. Kid Supreme. Anything that's without more on it, you don't want it, folks.
Yeah, that's the only significant thing that's worth anything is the more Supreme.
Yep, and you can look at the year. If it's after 1996, let's see, 96, I believe 97. So yeah, I thought there was another one though. Or maybe it was only those. So that means 43. No, okay, wait a minute. It changed though. It went from Supreme issue 41 and 42. Then Supreme the New Adventures from 43 on to 48. And then it became
the Awesome Comics
Supreme the Return.
Yeah.
I believe so. I think that's huh. Well, there we go.
And I think that run ended with the Jack Kirby issue.
Yeah, the Return did. Yeah. Some of these left field covers are intolerable though.
Yeah. Yeah, I see. Classic Comics. Classic Comics is talking about how they restored Superman's connection to the Legion. But yes, New 52 kind of ended that again. And if you noticed, it's some of the early New 52 Superman issues, they alluded to him still joining the Legion and being part of the Legion, but it didn't hold up across that New 52 continuity.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that doesn't look like Starro at all, right?
No, it doesn't. That isn't nothing like the Justice League, the Allies. the Florax the Dominator. Florax. Oh, the guy was amazing. Florax. Yeah, it was quite a ride, man. And this, I thought there was more of it than that. I guess it's just those two series, right?
Yeah. And like I said, Judgment Day that has Superman
And Judgment
characters
Day has
in
a
it.
minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you got to read. Yeah, I'm gonna go back and reread them. And then there was, like I said, there was this one. Remember the one with, it was like 2012. They brought it back for a little bit, but did they finish it? Let me check that.
Yeah, I was it something where, and again,
It's unpublished
I
or
only
something?
there's something that there was an unpublished script, and I think maybe Larson did it.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a Moore script, but there was an unpublished script, and they did like an edition of Alex Ross's art, but there was no story that accompanied that.
Here it is. It's okay. Wow, it picked up the numbering. That's strange. It says 63 through 68. Maybe it combined the issues. I don't know. Why is it 63?
That's weird, huh?
It is strange. That is really strange. Was there serious? I remember I bought this. I remember, in fact, I remember going nuts when it came out and sending you a text about it. Like, holy shit, dude, there's a new Supreme comic. Art sucks. But I don't know. But I think there's that many issues. I'm going to have to go back and see if I read all these. Or I may have stopped when Moore's name stopped being on it.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened. I'd have to check to be sure. Very odd stuff. I would have to check, but yeah.
Eric Larson's one of them communists.
I can't stand Eric Larson. Can't stand that little D-bag. What a wiener wipe. So let's see here. Yep, look, this is what I'm out right there. Eric Larson, Supreme, no thank you. Writer and artist, Eric Larson. Bye-bye. I'm out.
Yeah.
Let me see how many issues Moore did. 63.
And I think he turned into this total D-bag like he was before.
He turned into Eric. Oh, look. That's right. Now remember, the very next issue is by Alec Larson. I remember going down, jogging my memory here. This is like 2012, 13. I remember saying I was so excited that Alan Moore had come back and we had some Supreme. And I remember going to the comic shop and seeing, say, wait, put them brakes on, boy. What? And I opened it up. I was like, holy shit, there ain't no Alan Moore in here. So I said, no. Eric Larson, I can't stand him at the best of times. But if I'm going to buy a comic with Eric Larson crap anywhere near it, it better have Alan Moore's name on it. And he's done, I'm done. So he did it more. He's working from Moore's plots that never got done, never got finished. So he can bite the donkey. You could bite it, boy.
So I think maybe what we're saying is that, it reads 63.
Yeah, just read the Alan Moore ones. No communism, no international communism. Of
Waxahachie, Texas. Waxahachie,
Texas. So don't listen to this man.
Newswire. It's clobbering time. Listen to Clobby.
Oh. So yes, listen to me. So yeah, okay. So let me see here. Basically, let's figure out. We can tell anybody. We're recommending this. I don't usually do a lot of recommending, folks, but if you want to read some great Superman stuff at Win the Skies, there's so many great issues of this. I think there are trades. But you said the trades were are they complete? I know there's a Judgment Day trade, but there's also, I think, two Supreme trades.
There is. There's
I have two of them.
It's Story of the Year and Return. And I would recommend to have them to get them just to have them but
Yep.
they're not perfect quality. And what I mean by that is, if you get any modern trade that is made by the major companies, the quality's good. It looks good, and look, I don't want to take away from it because it's good enough. It's not bad. It's
The
just
story's there.
the story's there. I just think that the pictures could have been a little clearer. They could have looked a little better. But
Printing problems, eh?
yeah, I mean, I love it. It's just it's not perfect. But you know what? You're not paying a lot of money for them either. I mean, I think it was like a $15-$17 trade, and so it's good to have. I'd recommend it. Put it this way, if you want to read Supreme, I would go get those trades. Story of the year in return.
Or you can let me send you a link. But yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, but you should have them. Yeah, I have those. I still have all the comics too.
Yeah, me too.
You do too. Yeah.
I've been going nuts with trades lately, and I'm probably stupid for doing that now that I have these links.
I love having dude. You can't resist especially if you get a decent price on a trade, man. How do you resist it?
It's your fault anyway.
It's
your fault, but you sent me that link to In Stock Trades, and now they know
trades,
me by name.
man.
Yeah, they know me by my first name.
Really.
Yeah,
they got a lot of good stuff on there. That's some good. You get good prices on that sucker.
Dude, I got the handbook to the Marvel Universe for like $40, like the giant omnibus. Oh my god!
Wow, nice. We have a place in Baton Rouge now. You know that place in Covington called Second and Charles?
Yeah.
There's one here now.
Oh.
And it's not quite as big as that one, but it's nice. They had, I cannot afford to be doing this, but man, they had a Daredevil omnibus, $125 Daredevil omnibus for $50, man.
Wow.
It's the first 40 something issues. And with an Alex Ross, and it's the Alex Ross cover, which is worth about almost $200 now. Because they're 2 editions.
Yeah, that's something that I didn't realize is that there's a secondary market in these comic stores for a lot of these trades. I mean, some of these trades go for a pretty decent amount of money. I didn't realize that.
Sometimes it does happen, which is ridiculous because of trades and the Reapers,
right.
But sometimes you find them cheap too. So I think Classic Comics, you might be a little rewound a little bit because sometimes the stream holds up on you because he's saying, this reminds me of that FF issue where they meet God and he looks like Kirby. Yes, I remember that. Mark Waid did that one. I like that one.
Yeah. But
that is a deal. Rami Salami, I'm sorry, Rami Salami, I'm saying that right. But he might be a little back in the stream because it's been a while back since I showed that when they're CC. So that happens sometimes. Some people will get behind in the stream. It happens to me. If I'm watching a stream sometimes, I'll actually, for whatever reason, I'll leave it or do something like that and I'll forget something. And I won't pay attention. And I think I'm up to speed and I look like, oh man, I'm rewound way back.
What was that during the Mike Wieringo run when the Wade and Wieringo? Yeah. I love that FF run.
That was a great run there. That was good. Last time FF was really any good at all. And then he came back and it was like, Wade actually, I think, went back for a while, but it wasn't as good.
Yeah, Mike Wieringo was one of those guys that I still haven't gotten over that he died and left way too soon.
Oh yeah,
he was an amazing artist,
great artist.
And he was, and it's funny because he was a guy that loved Superboy and the Legion too.
Rami Salami, I got that right. Thank you. Good. I want to be sure because I'm never the greatest at pronunciation. Sometimes. Thank you. But yeah, that was a great run. And again, this was great too. I mean, I don't seem like there was a lot more of it. Now I'm kind of bumming. I'm going, man, there's not a. But then I remember, you think back, you go, yeah, but they took forever to come out most of the time. Like a lot of comics, like Astro City did, and everything else. Astro City was the worst at it, taking forever. Do you know that Astro City, which you know how much I love it?
Yeah,
it came out around 95. The first miniseries, and it was back in remember in around 2013 they finally started their Vertigo run, and it actually started coming out on time. It was shocking. It was coming out on time, and somewhere around 2000, like 16 or 17, they did like it was number 40 something of that run, but overall of all the Astros, they did like a legacy run type thing. It was like the 100th issue of Astro City, and I'm like, wait a minute. So that's over. That's over 20 years it took you to do 100 issues. That's something.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as bad as
Busiek was having some serious medical problems there for a while, and he was kind of down for the count, but then he'd gone and did Avengers.
He did Avengers and Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
And they asked, it's kind of weird because they asked him, so if you can do Avengers and Thunderbolts and whatever else books you're doing, why can't you do Astro Cities? And he almost came out with an answer that was like, well, that's because I really need to put my best foot forward on that book. I really need to care. It's the one I care about. The other ones I can just basically hack them out when I'm half in my mind. I don't know I'm just saying. Just saying. It seems like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, look, that
kind of sounded like that.
That run is kind of fun to look at, but I mean, there's no serious depth in that
Avengers
Reborn, whatever that run that was after they came back. I mean, I didn't hate it, but it wasn't the greatest thing ever,
Yeah. I mean, it was so sort of okay, but I didn't like. I got to be honest. I never was big on Thunderbolts. I thought it was pretty good for a while, but I never liked that Mark Bagley art. My buddy Mark D out there who loves it though. He loves Thunderbolts. A lot of people did.
I didn't mind. I didn't mind Thunderbolts, but I liked it being like when we were kids and we liked Suicide Squad. Like I liked the initial story. The initial run was amazing, and it's like, all right, unless you're gonna have a different group that they're dead or they're gone or Baron Zemo gets found out, so Thunderbolts are over. Like it doesn't make sense to me to have a Thunderbolts comic, come out next week when the whole point of it was, you finally found out they're these bastards,
Yeah, I maybe read it for like 8-9 issues or something and kind of just dove out. So I don't know, but a lot of people really liked it. Yeah, I mean, and it's fine,
I liked that initial run. What bothered me during that time? I think me and you used to talk about that. How, and I love Perez, and God bless his soul. It's a shame to lose a good guy like that. But
right,
I really hated what he did. Scarlet Witch's costume during
that.
Oh
God, I hate. Yeah, he made it look like a gypsy. I hated the gypsy outfit. I know he loved it.
She looked like she was riding on a Mardi Gras float.
Yeah, she did, like a gypsy, and that's his thing.
Yipsy.
Yeah, the gypsies, that's his bag, I guess, but mine did not work for me. I'm like, wow, dude, because she looked so beautiful before, but
and she had this giant dress on. Like
yeah. Oh, why, man? I hated that. They did have that one cool scene when they confronted Ultron and they had Thor, that famous shot. He goes, Ultron, we would have words with thee.
Yeah.
That was so classic that on the great show Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes, they repeated it. They did it. Ultron, I would have words. We would have words with thee. Remember when Thor?
God, what a great series that was too.
That was a great show. Oh my God, it's so good. Except for the last episode, it's so great. Oh my God. Now there were a couple times that they kind of had to hurry up with stuff like the Michael Korvac saga. They did in one episode that really didn't work, but it's still great. They even made Carol Danvers decent on that show.
Yeah, but, who they've ruined modernity.
Right, but she looked good. She was cool on there. That show was so good. Oh, I hate him for ruining that. Man, I only got 2 seasons of it. I've been starved for some cartoon stuff to watch. So I've been watching just, stuff I hadn't seen before, but now I'm back to watching stuff I've already seen. But now I'm watching Superman the animated series again because it's Superman month. I wanted some Superman-ness in my life again,
Yeah, look, I've been through the 2 years of heck that I've had to go through, and
right.
What I go back to some of the old favorites, and
yes, I really think you might. Who knows? But yes,
Who
some of the
I
old
could be
favorites.
the great curator. But no, that's why I read Supreme. I read Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow.
Nice.
And that's so. I mean, just to have Kurt Swan inked by George Perez and written by Alan Moore. That scene when they talk about Supergirl. Oh, that is one of the most touching scenes in the history of comics for me. It's up there with the death of Superboy, real Superboy. But dude, I go back to the old favorites. I'll watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I
love it.
have Disney. I have that Disney crap just so I can watch Empire Strikes Back and Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'm sorry.
It's yeah, I love it, man. So I just put that up there because I love this. I never get enough of looking at Superman pictures and Superman art. I told you that was it James Gunn. He's got that talked about that Superman movie he's doing that scares me.
Yeah.
He announced it, but he's been. I mean, if he put in his top of his Twitter, like his banner is a bunch of different. It's Superman art with the right costume. Because last week he tweeted out Trunks or no Trunks. Not that we're going to base anything on this. We just want to see just for the hell of it. So not scientific.
I voted for Trunks. Yeah,
I voted for Trunks. Then he put out. I wrote a couple things like Trunks or it's not Superman or something. Then yesterday he put out he just put out what was it? A picture from a recent Superman comic that had a pretty good painted cover of Superman flying upwards with the real deal costume.
Yeah.
And everybody kept putting different costumes in there. I put one that I couldn't believe people had took. I put one with a couple different ones, but one of the ones I put was a page from the Superman origin of Superman from like 1967 or whatever by Kurt Swan with the old cover, and a lot of people liked it. I'm like, man, look, you need to be influenced. Apparently, do it right.
Listen. I just don't get. I do not get the obsession with the Snyderverse. And again, I'll say the same thing that I said about Byrne. If that's your bag and you enjoy it, God bless you. I'm glad. I wish I loved it. I don't. There's some things that were tolerable, but I mean, I just think they missed Superman completely. And, Gunn seemingly, listen, I'll say this. If All-Star Superman is what this Superman legacy is supposed to be based on, you really can't go wrong with All-Star Superman.
If it's All-Star Superman, I'm with you. Rasamet, let's see. Sorry. Rami Salami. Oh, let's see here. Sorry about that. No, I have not seen Cyberpunk or Edge Runner, sir. I have not seen those. I don't know. Is that a game or something or what?
Is that like the Netflix anime you're talking about?
I'm not sure what he's talking about there. Steve Bach is good, says that. Steve Bach. Is that artist? I'm loving PKJ's Action Comics. I don't read any current comics myself. Animated show he's talking. Okay, I haven't seen any of that. No, I haven't.
Yeah. I've watched like the first 2 episodes of Cyberpunk. It's pretty interesting.
Okay.
Different.
Okay, gotcha. I have not seen anything. Me, I watch old stuff. I don't watch any new stuff.
Yeah.
I've been. It's been a couple of years since I've binged Earth's Mightiest Heroes. I'm waiting because I like to give it a little bit of time, but I mean, I want to watch it right now. But I'll be DC this month and watch Superman and some other stuff, and then next month go back to Marvel, I guess. As far as animated.
Dude, I thought about you, and I was telling my wife about this a couple of days ago. So I discovered this app Tubi, right? I
have Tubi.
So
I have it.
I was telling her about how we used to go by your house and watch Flash Gordon, and the 70s, the late 70s. You had the late 70s Flash Gordon on video when it had the Iran hostage news. The
greatest adventure of all.
Right after the show went off, they went into the news when the Iran hostage was going on. Well, so that's what I've been watching on Tubi. It's got the Flash Gordon show. It's got Defenders of the Earth. It's got Battlestar Galactica, the original. It's got
Buck
Space 1999. Buck Rogers, Space 1999.
Batman.
All those,
it's got a lot of stuff.
All the great classics.
I like Tubi. I watched that. I watched Rockford on there. I watched Buck Rogers on there and Battlestar Galactica on there recently. Yeah, I watched that a lot. I watched Sling. We got some stuff on there. But there are a couple. Yeah, there's some good stuff. They're showing all, and sometimes you have to put some commercials here and there. I miss stuff to binge and watch. I watch. Recently binged. You ever see the show, science fiction show Eureka?
Yeah, you were telling me about that. I
Great
watched
show.
the first episode. I watched the first episode after you. It's
Oh, cool.
Zode.
Zode,
You told me
yes.
that. Yeah.
I went through it so fast because I'd seen like one here and there, way back when it came on, and I liked it and all, but I just didn't really stay with it. That happens sometimes, even if you like something, whatever. And I did that, but then I went back recently, and they were now on Prime, Amazon Prime, and I just burned through them. And by the time I was done, I'm like, God, man, I need to slow down, man. Now I always have the blues after after you get done with one. You're like, oh man. I mean, you'll have to wait a few years to watch it again, and see how you'll feel because when I have a bad memory like me, it helps. And then right after that, I did Warehouse 13, another great show. It takes place in the same universe as Eureka.
Really?
It does. It was crossover. There were two crossovers.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, and that's a great show. Well, and it's again even shorter, like 64, 65 episodes. And man, I just went too fast, and it was over. I'm like, oh man, but hey, I'd never watched all of it. They had one episode that had references about comics, because I don't know if you know the premise of the show with Warehouse 13.
Yeah.
It basically Alexander the Great found all these enchanted objects or these cursed objects. He found a place he made these warehouses to put them all in to keep the people safe and stuff, and he had agents go around the world collecting them to keep people safe from all these. Some historical event would happen around a certain object, and it would become, a hoax. And it would come like cursed or whatever, if you want to use that term for it. And so these are agents. Warehouse 13 in the modern day have to go, and then they have different types of adventures where these objects. There was one where it was Edgar Allan Poe's pen could create monsters, all this different crazy stuff. That kind of, and it's a really great show. But it's they had one where this guy found this pair of tights that gave him superpowers, and the main character on the show, Pete, he's a big comics fan and stuff, and they found the Jakob Kurtzberg belt in the warehouse, and she goes, "Who's that?" He goes, "Jakob Kurtzberg, Jack Kirby, the king of comics." They finally somebody acknowledging Jack, J. Kirk. Oh yeah.
I saw your tweet about Bill Finger, and that certainly goes without saying that there would be no Bat without Bill Finger, and there would be no Marvel Universe without Jack Kirby.
And today would have been Bill Finger's birthday. So let's, since we've done most of our Superman and Supreme stuff, never forget, folks, Bill Finger, 1914, dude, would have been 109 years old. And so there's no justice for Jack Kirby or Steve Ditko or Wally Wood or Gil Kane or a lot of the other people that got screwed over by a certain guy with the initials SL that you can't even, he's basically Santa Claus to a lot of people, and you can't say anything bad about him. But Bob Kane, at least nobody has,
I did it all, true believers.
I did it all. I created you. But what if Bob Kane had created Bat-Man without Bill Finger? And you probably can't all can't see it here, folks, but he's standing up on the ledge. What to do? Batman and no one, the boy wonder.
Yeah.
That looks like a bad guy.
With his red costume.
This red costume. Gotta go into action. Ow. Say that was easy. Grr. And he says, grr. Time to go to jail. I caught a crook. What's that with the wings, Pally? I lifted them from from Leonardo da Vinci. Beyond that, I don't know. Can you help us? Is there some sort of commissioner of police I could talk to? Not in this comic. Oh, well, are there any other imaginative or colorful villains that need capturing? Nope. Well, then I guess I'll go home. I wish I had a car.
I guess my day is over with.
I wish I had a car. Next, all of Bob Kane's other ideas.
Name one of them. I can't think of one.
I could. Well, he just had the right pat because he was 18 years old, schmuck kid. Winding down for the night, but good man. Thanks. Hey, Remy Salami, good to see you. I'm glad.
Yeah,
It's good to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for the interaction. Come on back.
Glad to have you here, sir. Always a pleasure. Where were we? Where am I? Where are we? Oh, so yep, dude. Well, we talked a good bit about Supreme, and all we can conclude, folks, is if you want to read some good Superman comics that are where incognito,
Yeah, you owe it to yourself.
to read about the Platinum Paragon.
You owe it to your fandom to get to know this character.
You owe it. You owe it to him.
And
You are
then
obligated.
introduce it to your geek circles
Yes.
so that you all may know of the Man of Majesty.
The Man of Majesty. Join the supremacy.
Yeah.
Visit New Jack City. I think I'm going to do a show about Astro City, but I might wait till March for that because I'm going to start, delving into that again. I know nobody cares about it more as much as I do, but I love that comic, man.
I got to catch up, man. I really haven't caught up with the last probably 30 issues that they've done.
Well, as you know, they had the Vertigo run. And I bought them all, read them all. It wasn't as good as the earlier issues, but there were some really good ones here and there. There was some so-so ones, and then around 2000, what was it? Was it 16 or something up in there? It stopped, and it stopped at issue 52. What is it with number 52 in DC Comics? I don't know. Anyway,
I don't know. It
ended, but he said we're going to bring it back somehow, some way. Maybe in 2019. They didn't do it. So, 1 year ago, we're almost close to a year now. They brought back an issue. And they started doing some nice trades. Now they got a couple of good trades. And I got the first one. I need to get the second one. I don't know if InStock has it yet, but I want to get that second trade. They're putting them all in order. They're going to have them all in nice trades now. I got a bunch of reprints in different ways, and I have every single issue, but I kind of
yours was the first time I ever read Astro City. You loaned me the trade. Really? That's the first time I even knew about it.
Oh, really? Okay. Wow. Damn.
So it was like 1998.
Oh, really? Wow. Because I bought it the first day it came out in '95.
Yeah.
Actually here in town. I wasn't even living here, but I remember the shop where I bought it at. But I mean, it's just my favorite, one of my all-time favorite things in comics ever, and I love it. I love Bruce Astro City, and some of the issues of that I put up against anything Moore did. Not all of it, but some of the top notch. The best of Astro City, I put up with the best of Alan Moore writing. And I just absolutely adore it. And that last one he did last year was the first one in like 4 or 5 years or whatever. And he's not going to do any more after that for a long time. We just for some reason, willy-nilly just put an issue out. Normal size and everything. And I bought it. I read it. Couldn't wait to read it. And it was all right, But you're reading it with the knowledge it's been 4 years or whatever. And you're reading it, we don't know, it might be another 4 years. It's like, and it's at least it's a one-off. He doesn't leave you hanging with Astro City. He rarely leaves you hanging with an Astro City story. He usually, closes it up, which he did, so it's fine. But I was like, yeah, man, this is not bad. And it's still, even a lesser Astro City story has something good in it. And it was good, but you want more, what are you going to do? You're not going to get it, but you want it. And he's got some other project, and I'm like, I'm going to try to get excited about that one. It looks interesting, and I couldn't tell you what it is now, but yeah. So what are you going to do, man?
But you know what I look at? I look at it like this. Like you look at Kirkman. Kirkman's made all kinds of money from the Walking Dead TV show and Invincible. He's done that with Amazon, but he got disgusted with writing those comics and decided to end those comics, and they're done. And both of those comics, I'm not sure they're really ended the way I would have preferred. Not that it matters, but I guess in some ways it's every so often knowing that you're going to get an Astro City book is a treat. You're gonna get something that is quality. Because I'm not sure that you could find one Astro City issue that you could just say this is garbage. But it's gonna be something that appeals to you. It's something that you enjoy, and a lot of these creators, we're never going to get that again. You know, Alan Moore
No,
won't even touch comics anymore. You know,
he
so
hates comics.
yeah,
It is hard, so hard to believe that the man responsible for this now hates superheroes and hates and thinks calls if you're a grown man that likes superheroes, you're not that I mean not even saying you're a shithead. He's saying you're a rotten person. I mean, someone thinks he's saying, and he's like terrified for the world because there are people. You know, if you're a man and you enjoy a Marvel movie, then shut up, dude.
yeah,
It's better than your weirdo crap, Mister Snake God.
yeah.
For
And
shit's
I mean,
sake, man.
he's one of those dudes that just kind of hates himself, I think.
He's I don't know. He hates people for sure. I mean, he hates. I don't know what he is because he used to. I mean, but clearly this you can't write this. You can't write this without love.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just not possible. What he wrote with those comics, and I was reading in the opener of the first one, was Larson, whoever was talking, saying about how he was talking a lot about the way he and Alan Moore were talking about how excited they were about doing this comic and talking about comics when they were kids, comics they loved as kids. So he had love for this medium. He had love for this art form. He had love for the superheroes. Yeah, he did deconstructionist shit with Watchmen and you know, and he did dark stuff with Swamp Thing and V for Vendetta, all that kind of stuff. But then he did 1963. Then he did Supreme. So and then he did America's Best Comics. Some of those. I mean, he loved the medium, and just because he got pissed off.
If you grew up and you enjoyed the Earth 2 Superman, if you enjoyed Power Girl, if you were disgusted and angry at Supergirl dying in Crisis, if you wanted to remember those relationships and those throwback issues during the 50s where Superman would get an odd power or Jimmy Olsen would get something insane would happen to Jimmy Olsen, if you don't open up an issue of Supreme and feel like that's directly written for you, I would challenge you that it is. It is written for you. It's written for us. He wrote it for himself. He wrote it for us.
He did.
And look, we may never get a continuity in our lifetimes that fit the one that we loved and enjoyed before.
No, we're not.
Crisis of Infinite Earths. But in that small window of those, teens of issues, we had something special. And listen, we've had some good folks come on tonight. We've had some folks join us, and listen, this is what 20 years later, and we're talking about something. And I think it's in my mind, it's tested the standard of time, particularly when you talk about the number of comics historians both you and a lot of folks you have in the chat room.
Oh yeah, there's no question about it, that people still remember it. So at least a lot of us do. And like you said, you talked to Johns about it. He loved it, and this was a labor of love. It took just a nothing, worthless character and did something special with him. And I don't. It's a shame that the same guy that wrote this is bitter the way he is. But if you want to go back and read some just really well written comics that have a great sense of fun, and they're nothing but fun. And well, they're not just nothing. They're also very clever and imaginative. If that's there's that. Yeah, there's absolutely some amazing stuff. I don't know. I always tell people I don't like to recommend stuff, and then I do it sometimes by accident. I don't mean to, but because recommending never recommending or telling someone not to watch something either or watch or read something never goes well for you. Usually, it's always somebody goes, "Yeah, I read that. I didn't think much of it." Well, sorry.
What I found that I've been doing in my older age is if I engage in a conversation with somebody that likes something that I don't like, I'll say, listen, I'm glad you like it. I don't like it. I don't mind talking about why I don't like it, but it shouldn't, for example, and I know I'm going to probably start a fire with this, but The Last Jedi. Somebody who likes The Last Jedi, I told this guy, I said, listen, if you could walk into that movie and be happy, God bless you. I'm happy. I don't go to a Star Wars movie wanting to be miserable. I didn't go into the Man of Steel wanting to be disgusted. But I was. So that it is what it is. Now, whenever Superman the motion picture comes on, I want to throw a sheet around my neck and jump from sofa to sofa. as soon as it starts. You know.
Yep, I hear you. No, look, if you like The Last Jedi, I may not understand you, but you can like it. If you like Filth Drek, like fake Star Trek, or if you like Man of Steel, all that stuff. Look, you know what? Well, I don't have to tell you what I think about Man of Steel, but the very night of right after I reviewed it, when I had sat through it, my very next show, I had my good buddies Matt and Flash on there at the time. They used to do the show with me on BTR, and they loved it, and they were looking forward to it to begin with. They liked that filthy crap, and we teased them. We joked around with each other, and it was fine. We had, we both talked about what we thought about it, and we had a point, counterpoint, and all this stuff, and it was great. So, hey, Death Ray, what's happening?
And I think that's the way it should be, right? I mean, you should be able to have a discussion about. I always, and certainly there are different, and there are the proper environment to have those conversations. But when people would say, "Well, you shouldn't talk about that. You shouldn't argue with people." No, you should be respectful when you have a disagreement. You can say, "Hey, I don't like this show, or I don't like this comic, or I don't like this book," and say why you don't like it, and have the other person tell you why they like it, and have a good exchange without being disagreeable. At least that's kind of the way I think. But you got to have a little fun with it too. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm gonna laugh and mock certain things, even if I like it, just to get a reaction.
Oh, of course. I'm brutal stuff I even like. Eric K says, here you go with that, boy, I swear. Agreed, Clobby likes Man of Steel and Wesley. We do not make fun of him. Wesley of Steel, baby. Thank you for the $5 super chat, buddy, for spreading such truths that are not true, of course. Death Ray, what's up, buddy? He says, hey, Mark D with the C, the engineer. Carte blanche.
What's up, man?
Carte blanche as always. Let's see here. He says, I'm not defending all of Moore's comments, but he did say he loved the comics medium, but hated the comics. Well, yeah, I know he hated the business, but he's always hated it. I hate the business. But he said some rotten things about fans and stuff too.
I think he's just so miserable about everything that's going on. I think he's just kind of, it goes into a lot of that stuff where he wanted his name off of the properties with the movies and all that stuff. Now, I don't blame him, and I understand, but I just think he's so just disgusted with the entire process, the entire medium, the business part of it. And to Clobby's point, I think he's probably going a little too far when he talks about some fans.
He's flat out. He thinks, he's nutty. He's nuts because he's got there trashing people just because he's saying there's something wrong with you if you're an adult and you like a silly Marvel movie. Well, what, dude, shut up with that. People can. I mean, that's like saying it's childish. That's like saying going back into the 70s or 80s. Say if you're an adult and you bring your kids to see Pinocchio, and you had a good time, there's something wrong with you. You shouldn't like that cartoon because you're too old. Shut up. I mean, people can like it just because it's made for kids. Well, although the Marvel movies aren't necessarily, unfortunately, sometimes. But I mean, just because it is made for a younger audience, you can enjoy it as well. And he's just, I don't know. You made these characters put you. These characters put you in the public eye, whether you like to be there or not. But why were you? Let me ask you this, Alan. Do you really think he wrote that Supreme comic to appeal to 8-year-olds, even though the comics when he was 8 years old were like that? He knew at that time younger kids were not buying comics that much. They were, but he knew his demo was going to be going to be teens, 20s, and 30s because a lot of old men would read that. We're going to read it.
Yeah, when Radar is pollinating a city, I don't think he's looking for kids.
No,
to see that.
Right. He knew better, and then he wrote a lot of this. Prometheus was downright disgusting. Was he writing that for kids?
Oh yeah,
that was one of the most perverted damn comics I've ever read. Man, that was a sick ass comic.
Absolutely. And look, Stephen M brings up a good point that it wasn't all the fans that think that criticism is a personal attack. It wasn't always that way, and that's true. It wasn't. I mean. I would think that for us older fans, some of the greatest conversations in your life will be in a comic store, and sometimes you're violently arguing with somebody who loves something you absolutely loathe, and whether the conversation goes your way or not, when you walk out, you damn sure enjoy the conversation.
Yep. Absolutely. Mark D is here.
Hey, is the comic book shop open?
And
Yeah.
How's it going, guys?
Ace, Mark, I believe you've met before.
Yeah, we've met. Yeah, we've hung out before.
Oh
On one of your streams, I think, if my crummy memory goes. And
What's
hello,
going
everyone
on,
in the
dude?
chat. Oh, not much, but I have to disagree. No one is allowed to love The Last Jedi. I think I was talking
Well, that's
to
true.
my-
We were just trying to be nice.
I know we're being nice.
Yeah.
I'm you know I'm a
If
nice
we find
guy
out you
too,
like
but-
that right nest, like the Last Jedi, we're coming to you. We're coming to you. We're
Well,
gonna hurt you.
with the trailer was playing because my kids are watching something. I'm like, oh, what a disaster! How they screwed up Star Wars. I just left the
Oh.
room and they were laughing, like because
7 days.
the 70s, it's
Hey,
just
buddy.
such a screw up. Yeah, but it's wonderful when you get something good, though.
If I had to pick a couple of the worst times I've ever had in a movie theater, and I haven't really thought about it much. Man of Steel and Last Jedi are a pretty close race.
Yep.
It's tough to pick one. I don't know if
How
you
about
guys
name?
picked that
How
one, but
about Namor?
that was pretty bad. But you know, I was eating popcorn and just it was kind of I mean, it was bad. That was terrible. But Black Panther,
Did we go
Wakanda
see
forever.
Godzuki together and walk out?
We did. You yelled at the screen when you went when we walked out of the screen.
It was
You
that
threatened,
bad.
you threatened to kick the ass of the girl in front of the girl's boyfriend in front of us because she kept sitting back and telling us to shut up. Looking back, and you were gonna whoop that dude's ass, boy. But no,
With the babies, the Godzilla babies. That's what we
there was
got
a
up
guy.
and left.
Yeah, the Matthew
Was that the
Broderick
Matthew
trash.
Broderick one?
Yeah, we walked.
Yeah.
We ran out of that one. We walked out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's because our buddy Shahid said, he said when they showed the little gremlins babies playing around in the stuff, of Godzilla babies
and
playing
Madison
around
Square
like
Garden, yeah.
gremlins.
Yeah.
Yeah. He got said, F this when he walked out of the. I mean, we ran and we said, yeah, what? We're both just following him out.
And then
That
I
was
went,
so cute, just like Tribbles.
Garbage movie. But as far, but that's different though. I was having fun. It was a stupid movie. I'm talking about, knowing the anger of the dark side. When I'm sitting there watching The Last Jedi, I hated Force Awakens so much. I don't know why I was going back to this one, but I thought maybe I'm foolish. Because a lot of people, I think, not knowing much going in, were thinking, it can't be worse than that. Maybe it's not Jar Jar Abrams this time, so who knows? And I'm sitting there. I didn't have a lot of faith or anything, but at least we're going to get. I wanted to see what happens with Luke Skywalker because we got deprived. We got deprived of that. So you're going to go. There's no way you're not going to go because you're going to get to see Luke Skywalker. You want to see what's going on. So
sorry, Carrie Fisher passed away in real life at that
No,
point
not
too?
yet. No.
Not
She
yet.
was in that. Remember, she was in that trash.
Yeah, but she hadn't passed. Oh, did you know
was
she
later.
passed away?
No,
It was later.
no.
Okay,
It was
yeah.
later.
Trying to
I'm pretty
remember.
sure.
Yeah.
Point being, so she's that whole. Yeah, it was before. It was. I think it was after. I'm not sure now, but that's beside the point. You're going to go no matter how mad you are because you didn't get to see Luke Skywalker yet, except for 3 seconds, and you're pissed off about that as it is, right? But you're going to go because at least this time you're going to get to see Luke. You see Luke. She hands him the freaking lightsaber.
Yep.
And he sits there for a minute. Oh wow! And then he throws it over his shoulder. I mean, I jumped out of my chair. I said, "What in the?" We had to sit real close because we could barely get in. Jonathan was with me, and I had to sit back down. He was mad, but he just calmed down. You automatically ruined the movie for me right there. There's no coming back.
Yeah.
I'm mad. I'm punching things. I'm so mad the whole time. My anger did not subside because it just kept getting worse. The movie's such a piece of shit.
Yeah.
You ain't coming back from that. And they didn't do anything to alleviate that, did they? That was probably the worst because I was pissed off from get-go. I mean, Man of Steel took me about. I was just bored for the first 30 minutes when they're on Pandora, Krypton.
I did have to say I like the set designs and the music and the Kryptonian stuff of Man of Steel.
The music was good, but
the music's amazing.
Yeah, but the music's good, but it's still not Superman.
It doesn't save the movie. It's not going to save the movie.
Interesting music. But here we are on Pandora. Right, we're on Pandora.
They were there too long. You're right.
When Jarrell's riding a dragon, I think that might have that got me going right there. When he's riding a dragon, I'm like, I'm gonna start throwing shit in there.
Especially that part where he plugged his ass into the ass of the. No, wait, that was Avatar. Sorry.
How about the scene? I think here's where that one started to go off the rails. I already knew it was going to be probably stupid, but I remember I was getting calls that morning. It was a Friday morning, I went on that Friday night when it first opened, Man of Steel 2013 in June, and I get a call from a friend of mine says, "You better not be going to see that crap." And I said, "I've been telling people, bitching about it for years. Like, no way I could not see it. I got to watch
You
it
have
to
to go see
review
it,
it.
right? Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be on my shit if I don't, because I've been telling them so I go by myself. I tried to get Jonathan to go. I said, "No way, I'm not going to see it." So I go by myself. And I remember there were a couple times throughout the night that I saw there was not many people in the theater, but I see people down the aisle from me. Probably had to look at me and go, "What the hell's wrong with this guy?" Because I was hitting my chair a couple times. I'm like, "Oh," I was going, "Oh, gee." I was animated. But I think the first time that got me really knowing how bad a ride we were in for was when Jor-El is talking to the Council of Krypton, and they're all like a bunch of stoners. They're like, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. If everyone knows anything who knows anything about Superman lore knows that Jor-El's trying to warn them that the planet's going to blow up and they don't believe him. That's your crux of your story, right? In this, they were like, "Yeah, we know, Jor-El. We just don't give a shit." Go back and watch it if you doubt me. They're saying stuff like, "Yeah, that's right, man. That sucks. Hey, can you pass that doobie, man?" Yeah. I mean, they're like a bunch of stoners sitting there. "Yeah, man, that sucks. What a bummer. We're all going to blow up.
We're really not interested, Jor-El.
We don't really care. Yeah. You just go do whatever you think.
We're too busy wanting to ride dragons around.
We'll go ride your dragon, man. Get out of our free. Give us some space, man."
You know what, Jor-El? People that sit around and curse all day are
They're
really stupid.
So 40,000.
I did like the set design. I have to say,
somebody has to. So you like that when they got sent into the Phantom Zone, the ships looked like wangs.
It's been so long since I saw that movie. I can't remember now. But,
I got that from the Honest trailers. You ever see the Honest trailer for Man of Steel? It's fantastic. Oh God, ships that look like wangs.
And then I kind of like that fake Ursa.
Well, cool. Yeah, of course. So Russell Crowe with his stupid. Why do we have? Now we got a Jor-El action hero. Like, shut up. So 45,000 minutes later, when we get to Earth, was it Henry Clavicle is? Cluck Kid is working on he's working on an oil, like a rig out in the ocean, right?
Yeah, he did great. Aquaman.
He saved these guys. Like, okay, that's fair enough. Superman should save people. What do we get next? Later, he's working at some kind of truck stop.
He's like cutting trees down for a living. Yeah,
he's working at a truck stop.
He's super lumberjack.
Steve says they were crazy. Like, well, that's your opinion, man. Yeah, they were the Big Lebowski of it. Like, hey, well, that's just your opinion, man. Yeah, exactly.
Jor-El abides.
I would rather be Jor-El. Be reasonable.
Yeah.
My friend, I've never been otherwise.
I've never been otherwise.
This madness is yours. It's not as isn't it? We question you, Doctor. Your facts are undeniable, but your conclusions we find unsupportable. This planet will explode within 30 days, if not sooner. Jor-El, the Council has already evaluated this outlandish theory of yours. I tell you, Krypton is simply shifting its orbit. You're all stupid! I'm Jor-El, damn it, and I'm wearing my Rolex watch. I'm Marlon Brando. I'm getting paid more than all of you.
You will kneel down before me.
Both you! And it was nobody that takes an eternity. Your ass!
Your ass, Jor-El.
I'm sorry, but in the theater, it did sound like I said, your ass!
Your ass!
Hey, Apollome's Minion and Pepperoni.
Apollome's Minion.
You will bow down before me.
You will bow down.
So, let's see. And when Jor-El was leading Lois Lane around the Kryptonian ship, I hate the Kryptonian ship. Oh, you can't just have a Fortress of Solitude. It's got to be a ship. I felt like I was watching someone play a video game filled with nothing but quick time events. Good point. Will Zack Snyder for you. I think Classic Comics is behind in the stream. In many ways, Supreme stemmed from the same impulses that prompted Alan Moore to make Watchmen. He's a contrarian in large part. He was going against the grim gritty trend to help the pop. I think it was more of, well, if you're hearing me, and he's kind of held back in the stream Classic. If you get to this point, and you're still listening, I actually think it was more of a mea culpa for Watchmen, just as 1963 was.
Yeah.
I don't think, and also more simple than that. He loved Superman, and he wanted the chance to do the Superman comic he wanted to do, and Supreme gave him the chance to do that. Mark, did you ever?
I think he hated Supreme. Yeah.
What's that?
I think he hated the reboot too.
Huh?
I'm sorry. No, I just said I think too he hated Byrne's reboot, and I think he wanted to show everybody kind of what he thought could have been done.
Yeah. No.
Mark, I mean, I might have read one or two issues, or did they give it away for free comic book day or something? But
you got to read the Alan Moore ones if you ever do.
That's what I'm hearing now.
It started at number 51. I mean, 41. Sorry.
41. Okay.
And then
how long did it last?
It was went up to 48 in that series. Then it became Supreme Adventures for about, I don't know, 8 more, 12 more issues, whatever. Then was Supreme the Return. I still have this
Kirby
poster
issue
somewhere. I love the Kirby issue.
Shouldn't that be Stan Lee on the cover? No, just kidding.
Don't
shoot me.
New Stan City. So anyway, but
back when I created Adam and Eve.
I remember when I said, Alan, why don't you go and do Supreme? Make it Superman the way you want. I know I don't have any authority at DC or at Image even. Just go do it because I created you after all. And in fact, I created Supreme. Sort of. In a sense. In a broad sense that I created stuff. Marvel Comics, I created that. Sort of.
Yeah, when I created Captain America in World War II when I was fighting Nazis.
But I was fighting Razzies.
So I heard something in the news today about Captain America's first appearance in comics, or there was the serials. I think it was the movie serials. It's the first Marvel Comics hero in the 40s. I'm like, there was no Marvel Comics in the 40s. Technically,
it was really timely.
It was timely. Yeah,
he didn't have a shield in that in that serial. That was Dick Purcell played him. He had a gun.
The guy was World War II, right? And they said it was the most expensive at the time. Was one of the most expensive movies or serials ever made. Yep. I think it was anniversary today, but the first I'm like, it's not Marvel Comics.
Whose anniversary was it?
Well, maybe the cereal, the Cap cereal. You know how they have that stuff, every day, like this day in history kind of stuff.
Sure. I got
you. Yeah. So
Jennifer Lawrence created Adam and Eve. So,
I was just waiting for them to say Captain America created by Stan Lee and
Jennifer Lawrence. It's happened before. There was back when they were canon films. Hey, Mark, we lost Mark. We lost Ace.
Oh,
we lost Ace.
He'll be back.
I hope so.
I'll warp back in, I'm sure. My interwebs connection. Yep.
Holler at him and see. So we holler back at him and see what's up.
There he is. He's coming back.
There you are, dude.
Sorry about that. I lost y'all.
No problem, man. I don't know. It popped out. But you got a doggy?
Yeah, that's one of my pugs, Mila.
Oh, look at the puppy.
Doggy cam.
Doggy cam, folks. Doggy alert.
There we go. Full screen.
Man, I didn't know you had a puppy. No, that's cool. We like seeing the dog.
I have 2 of them.
Really? Look at that. That's cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Come on. A grown-up has all that comic book crap in their room and likes these superheroes. I mean, there's something probably wrong with you. I mean, I can't take offices or rooms like that. It just drives me crazy.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, neither can wives.
Eric, thank you for the $5 super chat, buddy. He says everyone knows Jennifer Lawrence created Superman. Come on, Stan. Well, she created Stan also. Thank you, buddy, for that. You're too kind. But that's cool. I love the doggy, man. And and you got to, if you want to show us some stuff back there, you don't have to though. You don't have to give us a tour.
No, I can do that. I mean, I meant
to feel like it.
It turned on again. I had my video off on this show, but it turned on again.
Would your camera reach around there? Huh?
Yeah, well, I'll show you.
On your phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
we can flip the camera on the phone to make it easier for to see what you're looking at if you put it.
I can do that too, right?
Yeah, you can change the camera up to the.
Very cool.
This is high tech stuff. Yep.
Yeah, right. And look, I'm sorry to mess this up.
That's it.
We don't have to. But there. It's easier for you to see what you're showing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Ooh, R2D2. Very cool.
Nice.
Yeah, this is so.
Gotham.
Cool
Kinda,
posters.
I call this the Cave of Silence, which used to it was a
fortress.
Superboy. Yeah, it was Superboy's little place for a while, and
Nice.
so what I have kind of my run of trades here,
Nice.
and I have these. These are just
Wow.
Superman and Batman only.
Hey, Keely Chow. Oh, wow. Only Supers and Bat and related
Yeah.
characters.
Right.
Superman family and Batman family.
Yep.
Nice.
And then over here I have kind of amalgamation of everybody. It's kind of
wow.
Got some Legion folks, got some Justice League. Ed McGuinness did like a crazy run on on a lot of the DC characters, and I love those. I got all of those.
Are those the new Star Trek figures?
Yeah, those are the ones, the Walmart ones.
Cool.
Yep. Brand new ones. Yep.
Cool Thor.
Check out that Thor. Is that go to that Thor? Sorry to.
No.
Is that the?
Is that a new one from Target?
That's a new one, or is that?
That's the robot one. That's the
Oh yeah.
Right. The Ragnarok.
Yep.
The one that was made by Tony Stark or whatever. But it came with 2 hammers. So what I did is I obviously put that one there, and then I gave Cap the other hammer.
I've got that Captain Marvel Jr. Cool.
Yeah. So
unless that's a later one.
Yeah. Then I kind of was always a fan of how the Power Rangers.
There you go, Donnie.
I end up getting that.
Hey, Donnie Pearson. There you go, Power Rangers.
Yeah, he's a big Power Rangers fan. Yep.
And that guy was kind of cool, and he just died too, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But I'll show you something that I'm kind of in love with right now. Is these new superpowers run?
See,
I don't know if you
got
guys
the
have
Superman
seen
one.
those.
Deathstroke looks all right. I hate Darkseid.
Yeah.
He's terrible. I mean, Nightwing doesn't look too bad, I guess. I got Claude got me the Superman one with the Superman Supermobile, which you can find those tons of those everywhere.
Yeah,
I gotta get that. That hasn't gone on sale yet, right? I have to.
I don't think so.
I couldn't resist. I know.
Still like
in
$40.
Though. No, not 40.
30?
Is it 40? I think it's like 30, but not 40. Man.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much. I really don't.
I gotta get that.
But you know what Claude did? I was bitching about how the Flash one, how much I hate it. So he got it for me and he painted it. He fixed it. He painted the stupid chin strap off of it. I hate that chin strap on Flash.
On Flash.
He got me a Flash one and he painted the strip.
Wait, so I think you can turn your phone sideways. It probably would flip to the sideways.
Oh,
there you go. Yep, there you go. Yep.
Now we can see.
Nice, dude.
Oh, you got the B. Is that the B or is that the on the top right, or is that the
that's Excelsior on top, and then that's B. And then I some of these
those are the Johnny Lightnings.
Yeah, the Johnny Lightnings, and then the one that Eagle Moss. I absolutely love this Phase A Enterprise.
Yeah, that's a cool one. Yep.
And,
very cool.
Are
those the Eagle Mosses there? Or,
it's a mix.
Is that the big C? Is that the big C? Eagle Moss C? Yeah. But that's the supersized one, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't get that. I got the small one. I gotta get the big one.
Yeah, I love the C. That's probably one of my favorite.
Yeah, the C's my favorite one too. Yeah.
Next Generation episode, man. I love that episode so much. So I've always wanted to make a big giant C like this one.
Yep.
But they never did. I mean, I got
about the model kit, but
some of my military shit up here, but
Ezra Goldstein, shalom, hello there.
Oh, yeah, Ezra, shalom.
Boom, cool stuff. Oh man, that is so cool, dude.
That Ronald Reagan there? Was that Reagan?
Right. Yeah.
All right.
You know what yesterday was? You know that Champions thing's up there? Yesterday. 13 years ago to yesterday, when we were the world champions, buddy. Great. Is that a Samaritan? Oh my God, you got a Samaritan statue.
Yeah.
Holy shite, dude. I didn't know you had that. Oh my God, I want that. I got the figures of the Astro City, but oh my God, man, that's fantastic.
And the Han Solo.
It's an old. That's a. I was fascinated with that as a kid, and so that's a original Empire Strikes Back from Burger King poster.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Nice.
I had that by Boris Vallejo.
And then at the con last year, this guy had a bust of Grand Moff Tarkin, so I ended up buying that.
Nice.
And for the dude that likes the Power Rangers, this is a Green Ranger right
There's
there.
your Green Ranger
There
there,
you
buddy.
go. Yeah.
That's for you,
That's
Donnie.
That's a new 52 Superboy, but he just looked like Superboy. So I wanted it, even though it's new 52 garbage. Sorry.
Sorry. We'll live, I guess. I guess we'll have to survive it. There's comedian. Comedian. Wow, I love that Superman with the
animated
eagle.
Batman.
Yeah.
He would have where'd you get that? Is that a figure?
Comedian.
No, it's a.
Or that's a statue.
No, it's a statue. It's. They did like a whole line of those covers, and they have. I have like two of them, and one of them he's standing in front of. He's holding the United States flag, and then this one he's standing in front of the shield.
That's nice. Nice, yeah.
And then behind there you have our from our WB days. Remember, Mike?
Yep, that Superman
WB
statue
store.
back there. Remember when we both got that
Yep,
at the same time? The one with his fit with his arm in front of his face. I always didn't like the pose much, but I love the statue's fantastic.
No, it's
Warner Brothers
awesome.
store.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is that the new DC Super? Is that the original or the new?
That's the old
Superman.
one. Huh?
That's
Superpowers.
Yeah. Oh no, that's the new one. I bought it I bought several of them just to. I have some that I'm messing with and some that I have put away.
Of course.
So, I always was really big on Thor when he was in the Destroyer armor.
Yep.
I always loved that, and I was able to find that on eBay for like $50, and I ended up getting.
Is that a statue or is that on the right?
It's a statue.
Oh, there you go. Yep. That was one of the worst things about the Thor movie, how quickly they dispatched the Destroyer. Oh, it's so bad.
Yeah. Well, Steve asks, is that Superman with the eagle on his arm from the Death and Return of Superman storyline?
No,
statue. I don't know.
Yeah, it's from the 40s. It's from the World War II era. The cover, I think actually
an old cover.
I think it was on the actual cover where they were selling war bonds actually. But it's one of my favorites. Back
when Superman could fight for the American way.
Yeah, truth, justice, and the American way. And this is my last. I'll show you my last little area. More
nice.
ships.
Oh, you got the battle damage. Is that Wrath of Khan battle damage?
It is.
Or Trek 3.
Is.
Oh, that's gone. Yeah. There's a Trek 3 one that's really messed up.
Do not have Admiral.
Hell yeah!
Oh, and that's the new. How do you like the new Playmates one?
It's okay, but those Diamond Select ones are pretty amazing.
Yeah, but Mike will tell you Select better.
But yeah, Mike will tell you the thing that makes you the most disgusted is that these bases on those Diamond Select ones were not.
No, I have every ship. So
yeah. So the ones that are up here are the ones that were broken. You know.
Well, actually, I found a way to restore the bases or fix the bases, and
really?
I should do a YouTube video on it.
What's that black ship
I had
there?
it used.
It's a. You know how I like the way ships look, so I haven't even watched any of those Discovery TV shows, but I just did that ship. They call it It said it's Section 31 ship. Like it's and I just like the way the ship looks. I have no idea what the story is behind the ship. I just liked the way it looked. And
I got you.
Eagle Moss had a deal where you could get two, and so I just liked the way that ship looked. And it was I got the extra large one for cheap. And look, I have the Strange New Worlds ornament that somebody gave me. So.
Oh wow!
And then
and then that's the new, and to the right, that's the new. Which year is that one? Oh, that's the motion picture one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's 2019.
Look at that little. See that small battle damaged Enterprise you got there. Remember you gave that. You gave me that. I still have the one you gave me.
Yeah, yeah. I found those in Vegas at the Star Trek Experience.
The saucer comes off easily.
Yeah, that's happened to me too. So I ended up I super glued everything. I kind of. Because all those like Futura ones, I think they're the Japanese people. I think what they end up doing is they do a lot of painting on them and all that kind of stuff. So they come apart pretty easily. I glued them all together. So
Is that the
But
Hot
yeah,
Wheels Star Trek ships?
yes,
Oh, it's the Calvin. We won't show that one, but yeah, that was the
Yeah, I know.
Vengeance. The Vengeance is cool. Yeah, but that was Hot Wheels. Yeah,
yeah,
Ugh,
yeah.
yeah.
So what you could do is
filth,
what I figured out was I
filth
pin
infested
drilled
trash.
the stands, and I put so I pinned it and I re-glued it, and I was able to bring them back to life and sand them and get them to work again. Or the alternative is just hanging from the ceiling. And there's someone is 3D. I found some 3D prints you could reprint those stands, but yeah, that was always a weak point, was those balls and
Yeah.
would just snap off.
Yeah, all these ships here, that's happened to all of them.
Which is in the middle? Is that the
that is the Playmates
B?
B? Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
mine stopped working though. Unfortunately,
Cool.
the sound. Yep.
Wow.
And I have some friends in the military who were always familiar with my geekdom, and one day for Christmas brought this to my office and gave me
Nice.
gave me this
look at
X-Wing and this giant
Nice.
R2.
Got an X-wing. That's a big X-wing.
Does R2 talk, or is just he doesn't do anything? Yeah.
He does. I think the battery is out, but the funny
He
thing
talks.
about I mean, that thing is huge. The funny
Can he
thing
bring you a
about that,
beer?
no. But what's funny is we were messing with this one day with my pugs, and like you'd say, when you turn it on, you say, "Hey R2, come here," and it'll come to you. And then you'll say, "Hey R2, speak," and you go do 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 do. So
Yep.
so my pug Beauregard,
Hey,
that,
puppy.
he evidently realized that R2 was moving and just decided to shit on the floor.
How could he get scared by R2?
Yeah.
Hey, puppy dog. Oh, I didn't know you had puppies.
Yeah,
I
give me
didn't know you
five.
had these dogs. I've been there forever, but I didn't know you had any
Yeah.
new dogs. So cool.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Did y'all lose me?
No, you're back. Yeah,
yeah,
you're back.
yeah,
Yeah,
you're
very
there,
good.
you're
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Give me
love
five.
doggies.
Give me 5.
Oh.
All right, you want me to belly? That's what you want.
Yeah, you gotta
at
scratch
that.
me first before I'm gonna give you 5.
Yeah.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, that's great. I love
Yeah,
doggies.
so his name is Pug Beauregard. So
Oh. Beauregard.
so
That's some great stuff, bro.
That's a
Thank you for the tour. Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
thanks
appreciate
for
that.
asking.
Oh man, we do this to Mark all the time. So about time we did it
Yeah.
to somebody else.
Yeah.
Oh, we're looking at your floor, just so you know.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to change it off now.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
nice setup there. That's cool.
We
That's
just
great,
do turn
though, man.
camera off.
No, that's
Turn. Yeah, it's hard on the phone. It's a pain to find all
Yeah.
those controls. Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to do right now. Sorry about that. I apologize to the feed for having to look at my nonsense.
No, you kidding
That
me?
was awesome.
Dude, this is what we love to do here. We do it all the time, in case you hadn't noticed, man.
Yeah.
So that's great stuff. But oh my goodness, well, I thank you all for being here with us tonight. I really appreciate it. You've been fantastic putting up with us, just talking about something that I know a lot of people don't really know a lot about or care much for, but we do. So I'll just wrap up by saying, Supreme. I mean, if you're a Superman fan and you haven't read these, Alan Moore issues only, of course. That's the caveat. Track down, and if you need any help tracking them down, let me know. But this is a great run. Ace, any final words you would add to basically about Supreme?
Again, I think it goes back to your fandom of Superman, and whoever you are as a Superman fan, I think it's dictated by when you first started reading the comic and your shared experience through those times. And if you were a fan of the Earth 2 Superman, if you were a fan of the Silver Age Superman, if you were a fan of some of the hokey stuff in the 50s, there's a place for all of those themes in Supreme. And for me, especially for Superboy and Kid Supreme and the entire mythos that are identified and the League of, their Legion rip. So I just think that it's modern in a way that is good. I guess I would say it's everything that we could have got in the 80s but didn't, because Alan Moore, quite frankly, didn't reboot the DC universe. And if you're looking at that alternative, then please go buy these trades and give yourself a treat of just some good old fun, but some really amazing Superman comics.
Incredibly
Even though that's
imaginative.
not, that's not his name.
Yeah, this is Superman under an assumed name. It's amazingly imaginative. It's Alan Moore, and to me, in some cases, at his finest in terms of, coming up with just such clever ideas and concepts for this character. And it's just so amazing. It's just, nobody could have done this the way he did. If you're hearing me, Mark, not Mark, Ace, you're not connected. You have to connect your microphone. I'm showing you here, but there we go.
There he's back. Yep.
Back. No problem. So
I screwed the pooch when I started showing things.
No, you kidding me? Look, no, don't, dude. Everyone loves that, man. Everyone really loves seeing that stuff. You know that. I do too. So it was great. I wouldn't ask you to do it, man. We've been doing this.
Go back again. Can you go back again? Just kidding.
They'd love it. No, but, I mean, people do really love that. If we had a bigger crowd, you had to do it at the clubhouse or something. People would go nuts for it. Raquel would love to see all that stuff. So, Mark, anything going on?
Well, I had a quick Batman video today. Batman short statue. So let me drop that link in and
put the link in there.
Put a link and then
go see
just
Mark's
a bunch
video,
of
everybody.
I enabled a bunch of people. I guess I'm getting some good reaction to my Hobby Lobby video. So
the Hobby Lobby video. You got a good reaction for it? Good.
Yeah, well, people told me that I'm costing them money, which is good. So that's the whole point of enabling, so that they're going out to Hobby Lobby and buying stuff. So
yeah,
so
excellent, sir.
The clubhouse tomorrow night, which you'll talk about, obviously. But
I got a question for y'all. Did y'all see your first officer's cosplay, Ilea? I thought it was pretty great.
Yeah, she brought it in last week. She showed it last week. Yeah. Very nice job of that. So yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool.
Yep, and then it wasn't easy with all that having that thing with the hair and stuff. I mean, remember the hair? Oh, how she managed to do that? That's crazy with it. Without shaving your head, that's got to be very difficult.
It'd be much easier to do on me, but not on Raquel.
On her, yeah.
Well, here, why don't I show this? I'll show this real quick. This takes 2 seconds to
Decker unit. What you got?
Let me. Why did they change? They changed StreamYards again. Oh, I just show the short. They just changing everything. So.
Oh yeah.
I'll show it without the volume because they always get you with the. But that's a vinyl statue my nephew got me. Really cool.
Pretty cool. I like it.
Nice.
Batman. Yeah. So it's a nice one there. Yep.
Nice.
But you can't tell that it's vinyl too, which I like. So it's not as you can get some like Claude. I think just got that new Beta Ray Bill statue.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Some nice vinyl statues out there that won't break the bank. So just pretty cool.
I like Very cool. Love that. That looks better than he doesn't on the game. Arkham City game. The costume's too complicated. I actually like that one.
That one looks nice.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well, let's see your show notes, folks, and we'll get out of here. Tomorrow night I will be on, of course, with the great Tom Connors on Midnight's Edge After Dark at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and then of course we will have the at 9 we'll be here for the clubhouse with Raquel and Mark. Of course we will be clubhousing, and then Friday night I'll be over there with my buddy Dead Man. Dead Man. Hopefully he's alive.
You're thinking comics. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Dead Man's one of my favorite characters. Dad Man. Don't be dead, Dad Man. I'll be on there on his channel with him at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the Cooper Bowl, talking some Super Bowl with him because he wants to talk about that, and we will do it. Sports ball, folks. Sorry, don't hurt me. And then 8:30 Central Standard Time on my good buddy Nick Weiser's channel, the Friday Night Comic Shop, and the boys. We will review. We'll all be reviewing Infinity Gauntlet number 6. And then Saturday Night Star Trek continues. It's issue number 105 for Saturday Night Star Trek. And we're starting season 5 of Deep Space Nine. 4 more episodes right here, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time with Commander R.M. Briggs. Looking forward to that. The Sunday Night Geekery, of course, on Mark's channel. Join us there if you're up late sometimes, folks. Ace should join us sometimes if you want to, man.
It'd be fun. Yep.
It is 10 Eastern, but we just hang out and geeks, hang out with us.
So this week, I don't know if I'm going to do.
The Super Bowl's going to make it late. I forgot.
Yeah, when's the Super Bowl?
Oh, shit. I might not be home in time.
Well, maybe I'll start it later. Maybe we'll do like an abbreviated version.
It might. Let's see. It
starts at 6 p.m. Eastern.
6:30 your time.
Or 6:30.
It'll be done
4
by
hours.
10:30.
11.
Yeah, it might be done by 11 your time, maybe. So but we're still doing it, or do you want to not do it?
Yeah. No, I'll probably do it, but we'll do a short one. Yeah, I'll be up anyway, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
Just hit me at the time, and then folks, it's Super Month continues. A special double feature Monday, the 13th. First, at 6 p.m. Central, the great J-Man and I will take you back to Earth B, the wacky world of Bob Haney presentation. Getting wacky with it as always, with the craziest writer who ever. Alan Moore was crazy in a different way. This guy, you've got to, if you haven't read a Bob Haney story, you need to once in your life so you can see how insanity works. It's just the nuttiest things. And then after that, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, Carlos from Comics Mania will join me to review one of the greatest comics of all time, much less greatest superhero comic, greatest Superman comic, greatest things ever. Superman Annual Number 11 for the man who has everything, the masterpiece by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. It is a total masterpiece. This is one of my all-time favorite comics. This dude, when I bought this in 1985, I only bought it because it had Alan Moore's name on it. I was liking Swamp Thing at the time. I wasn't big on Gibbons usually because I didn't really like his Green Lantern on that much. I bought this sucker. I remember where I was when I sat down and read it. I was at work at my dad's a lot. I was just floored. Burn. Goodbye, Kryptonian. I give you oblivion. Burn. I love the shot where he goes, he said, who did this? A big purple guy. He's in there hurting Wonder Woman. He goes, Mongol. And then that yell, Mongol. You see that right there at the side.
Yeah.
He yelled so loud it knocked Robin off his feet.
Yeah.
And then he flew so fast. Oh, God. Anyway. Great comic. Then, of course, more a week from then next, I'll have some other Superman stuff, of course, but a week from then, Michael with Retro Blasting will be joining me to talk some pre-crisis Superman a week from Monday night.
Nice.
Indeedishness. Yeah. Looking forward to that. Michael, good. Always great to have Michael hanging with us. So, hey, everybody. Thank you all so much for being here with us tonight. I always appreciate it. Shout out to everyone who was here tonight, but especially our great wrenchers, Eric K. Thank you for all you did. Thank you for the contributions, buddy. Bronze Wrencher, Chris Persia, Vindicated Wrench of the North, D. Bud Martin. Thank you, buddy. Wrench of Iron, Lord Thoth, Avon Lives, Long Live the Legion, and shout out to Lady Thoth, God of Wrenches, Goddess of Wrenches, and of course, J-Man the Wrench Without Fear and partner on Crime on Earth B, Hungry Boy Master, the Claboni, Super Wrench, Steve Carell, Steve Mitchum, Maddie's daddy, wielder of French Bionia, Steve-O, and of course, Phantom Outsider. All right, Fanty. And Apollonie's Minion was here, so let's get to see the puppy. I think you said the pupper wasn't feeling well. Apollonie, I'm so sorry about that, my dear. I hope Simi gets to feeling better, love it. You be careful out there on those roads. Both hands on the wheel, young lady. Okay. Hey, 70s. Appreciate you, man. Thanks for being here. Good to see you, JT Kirk, Ezra Goldstein, Shalom, Donnie Pearson, everybody else who was here today. Let's see. We didn't have a big crowd, but we had a great crowd. That's all that matters. Classic Comics, buddy. Dave. Kayla Chow, Roll Tide, the lovely Sherry, love you. Sherry and Zacharat, Brian Hepburn. And if I missed anyone, I apologize, but it is great to have you all with us tonight. And have a wonderful continuance of your weekend. What is it? this is the Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. We're over the hump. So have a wonderful remainder of your week, my dear friends.
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerds! What?
Clobberanimo! I just love clobbering time.